The nice, very nice.
I was gonna say like Greg better put that fucking clip in. Because that was great.
That was a good new intro. Nice.
Yeah, I figured I'd fiddle around with it.
The audio sounded a lot better too.
Yeah, I was trying to fix the audio a little bit.
Yeah,
the music's a little slightly louder at some points, like when Andre's talking. I guess his voice is more quiet though.
Yeah, I'm still fiddling with it.
The audio is much better.
Yeah, I've been trying.
When you said Andre, I thought you were talking about Midnight's Edge Andre for a minute.
Oh, no.
I was like, what the fuck? And I'm like, oh, yes. Andre from Monsters.
My voice is a little bit low.
Yes.
I feel like the same would apply then, probably.
Yeah, I just figured I'd put together a new one a little bit, see some new clips and stuff, and fiddle with the audio because I know the audio is pretty bad on that.
It's 2024, man.
Yeah. But hello, fellow followers. But welcome, fellow followers, back to the Physical Media Show here on FanZcene Vids. And with me tonight is this illustrious panel of movie lovers and one drunken uncle, cousin, whatever you want to call him.
That's right.
Tom and Eddie.
I returned again.
How are you guys doing this evening? Like I said, he's the drunken uncle, just won't leave.
Doing.
No, I won't leave until after next week, and then I go back to school. So you won't have to deal with my ass for a long ass time again.
I was wondering because my nephew went back to college yesterday, I think.
We find out Runner got kicked out.
No, my school happens to start a little bit later than most people because one of my friends got back to school this week, and I'm like, fuck.
It's film school. So you guys take off more time than you actually go to school, just like Hollywood, so you're prepared.
I mean, if that's how it works, I don't know.
He's been sleeping on my couch.
I mean, crew member, not so much. Crews just work endlessly, but the actors, they're like, oh my God, I'm working so much. And you look at their schedules, like you worked a total of 60 days this year. Right? My God.
It's like Andre, speaking of Andre, it's like he said, they are the least important person on this.
In most cases, yes.
I'm not gonna lie, like in all seriousness, I learned a lot from that stream, watching the replay.
That's cool.
From Andre and stuff. Like it actually kind of gives me a little more insight on what I should know when getting into this stuff. So
that nobody knows nothing in Hollywood. That's rule number one.
Yeah.
Fake it till you make it.
Exactly. I was about to say, fake it till you make it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
And
go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, like, I mean, was it like Greg can probably understand where I'm coming from. I don't really give a shit about Hollywood. In all honesty, like I just want to be an indie filmmaker and shit. And if people see my shit, that's cool. I want to start off small and then build my way up there and stuff. Like, and I even told my friends, like, I feel like indie filmmaking is getting a lot more recognition than before because of, bigger studios being really dumb with some of their decision making.
There's less reason to watch a lot of current things, and there's more access to watching independent stuff and for independent creators to make stuff. So
no, but
there's a rise, but I don't know how much. Tom would.
I'm just saying, like, because I was explaining this to my friends, like I feel like indie filmmaking of this decade so far, like, is getting a lot more recognition because a lot of the current big mainstream stuff just sucks ass and no one cares.
Well, it's at the palm of everybody's hand, so everybody's trying to make movies now. So that's how it rolls. But
that's true because you can get a hand of one of these bad boys and
and then there's like Runner's going to be called into some like Hollywood producers one day. It's like, I see you applied for this job. Was this you? I don't give a shit about Hollywood.
You're hired.
You're hired.
Hey, if I can make what I want to make, then fucking cool. I don't care.
But let's say hi to the chat real quick, and then we'll get into everything. So up first, we have Random Brad Creator, Salute, sending us good vibes as always. And we have Sergeant Bilby, says support Thunder Bean, Deaf Crocodile, and Vinegar Syndrome. Don't think I've actually heard of Thunder Bean and Deaf Crocodile, but we all love Vinegar Syndrome. We know that one. And then we have FKHC 2005. If I ever made a movie and it became big, I would release it on Betamax just to mess with people. That would be hilarious because they are releasing new movies on VHS now and be like, nah, I'm going to do Betamax. It'd be like, what?
Where do we find these ancient devices?
Then nobody could be able to play that. Then we have my dude VHS Mikey. What's up, fellower? Great guy. I love his channel. Check him out for all your VHS retro vibes. And then we have Salute Deleted Scenes. What is up, my friend? And then of course we have Carl's Art Universe. Hell, how's it going to you? And Carl also that I did not get Old Boy on 4K. To be honest, I've never actually seen the movie. So
I saw it in the theater.
I'm waiting for New Boy.
New Boy.
Tired of the old boy. We need a new one.
I saw the re-release on 4K in the theater. I don't have the actual like disc or anything, but I hear the recent box set that they released or whatever is pretty pricey. But
yeah, I heard it was pretty expensive.
Yeah, I mean it's a good movie. I need to. I've only seen it once, and it was in a theater, and it was like late at night, but it actually played in one of my local theaters, and I'm like, fuck, I'll check this out.
Yeah,
it's good. It's a good movie. I recommend, Greg.
And then we have Ace Hanlon that says, anyone buy the 4K of Aliens yet? I think it's only pre-order. Yeah, I don't think it comes out
it's only pre-order, but
you can pre-order it though.
I'll get it.
I've heard Aliens is at least better than True Lies.
I was gonna say, to my recollection, the 4K of that seems better compared to True.
Why would you buy a bit rate starved version when you can just wait a month and a half or so and get it? I know Amazon still hasn't posted them for the US releases, but they'll be coming.
Yeah, they'll be coming. Yep.
I'm
waiting to see. Hopefully, they get a steelbook because those covers are fucking horrific.
Yeah, they are pretty bad.
No, they're not good. But I'm not sure if you know this, Tom. Do you think the Disney Movie Club thing will do their version or whatever, since they technically own that shit?
Maybe. But see, what Disney Movie Club usually does is just slip covers. In fact, I can go grab one just to show you, for instance.
I know that. I know they do like some of their exclusive stuff, mainly if it's like Blu-ray, but like, was it like without having to without remembering, I forgot to usually I whenever I get a notification or whatever of whatever monthly thing.
Yeah, usually all they do is like a lithograph or a special slipcover like this, where it has like the original Sword and Stone poster on it.
That's a Blu-ray though, right?
Yeah, but like on the inside, it's the same exact Blu-ray that's been around for years. But it's just a different slipcover is all. Now otherwise they just do like lithographs and stuff. I've never seen them have like a steelbook. No. Now, if they actually did like different slipcovers for True Lies and Aliens, and they were like the theatrical posters like this, I would definitely buy them from Disney Movie Club.
No, for sure. But was it because the only thing I've gotten from them, and it was only because I forgot to cancel I forgot to decline or whatever you do, was for Guardians 3, and it was the same exact cover and everything with a slip cover. Right. Every other thing that they've asked, hey, do you want this? I'm like, no, I declined, because it's a lot of the newer shit.
Yeah, that's usually the case in that. But
so I'm hoping if it's the James Cameron shit, I won't decline those, especially Aliens. But if it was the original poster art for those, that'd be great.
We actually had some announcements this week. Some news anyway. We're getting Born on the 4th of July at some point here in April. I'm trying to figure out what studio's putting it out.
I'm excited for that.
That looks like it's
still going. I think he's still addressing the chat with the saying hi.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you can go ahead. Go ahead, Tom. Go ahead. I'll flash them up on the screen while you're talking. Go ahead.
Right, cool.
And then we got Wednesday coming March 26th on Blu-ray. That'd be the TV show from Netflix, the Addams Family one. The one that I'm excited most for would be Major League coming.
Yes. Yes.
Still haven't seen that yet.
I remember seeing that late at night, and I was like, "Fuck yes, this is coming out in 4K."
Not real happy with the with the main art.
No,
I think it looks kind of weird.
Yeah,
But the steelbook looks like it might be fun. So we'll see here. Here I'll show the art.
the steelbook at least makes sense because it's
because
it's a locker.
Yeah, it's Serrano's locker. Yeah, so that one I can get behind. But
hats for bats.
Keep bat warm.
Rook, you need to watch Major League whenever you can.
I love Major League.
Jobu's rum.
That I watched it. I watched it for the first time.
Yours, Jobu.
Up yours, Joe. I love him. I love that guy. He's so hilarious in that. Yeah, the steelbook does look better than the actual because, like, it's just I get it. It's Charlie Sheen's head from the movie, but come on.
Wild thing.
And it comes with magnets, so that's kind of cool.
Oh yeah, that is cool.
That is pretty cool. So
it was weird when I saw those. I thought those were like stickers, and then I heard they were magnets.
It's very bad to steal Jobu's rum.
One of my favorites is with is when
Stick
Willie
up
Mays
for you, Jobu.
We already started,
You
and he's out in the middle of the field. They put him outside. And we already
You don't
started.
help me now. I say, fuck you, Jobu. I do it myself.
But I do love that. That is an hilarious.
You can't be having him sacrificing a live chicken in the locker room.
You got puking.
We'll have guys puking and shit.
Oh, I love that movie. I love that movie so much. It is such a good movie.
Last year, the California Penal League.
It is good. It's good.
I can't wait for that one. That one, of course, comes out April 2nd, just in time for the season to start.
Mm-hmm. It's a shame that they're not even the Cleveland Indians anymore.
I know, right? And then we've got the 4K release of Primal Fear, which is one I'm not surprised. That's had a 4K transfer on digital for quite some time. It's going to be the next Paramount, what do you call it? Their collection deal. You know, with the numbers and all that shit. Presents, thank you.
Yeah.
And then we got season 7 of Rick and Morty, if anybody gives a shit. The Marvels, if anybody gives a shit, coming in February just before. So if you love somebody, don't give them Marvels for Valentine's Day.
No.
No. God, no.
Yeah.
I was gonna say give a Major League, but that doesn't come till April.
Yeah. Contagion. Well, it should be out, I think, in time for Father's Day. Contagion comes out on 2/27. So you can expect that one. That's the Jude Law film, Matt Damon.
Oh yeah.
Lawrence Fishburne.
Steven Soderbergh.
I always think of Outbreak when they say Contagion. I always think of the movie with Dustin Hoffman.
Monkey.
Yeah.
And then Mean Girls, the original, is getting a 4K steelbook in April, just for time for the remake. Rumor has it the Straight Story will be getting a 4K release in April.
Isn't the remake coming out in like a few days?
Yeah, something like that.
So they'll probably. Well, I was gonna say Paramount's probably gonna do like a 2-movie collection thing when they release it, probably.
Hang on, I gotta go let my dog in. She's barking off the chain. Something.
Go ahead. While he's doing that, I'm gonna get this $4.99 super chat from Doug. Virginia loves horror. Says, "Hell, everybody, go ahead, Rook, pull out Hereditary since you loved Midsummer."
I hated that movie. What are you talking about?
I didn't like it either.
All we did was explain how horrible it was.
I even like explained why I didn't like it.
See, I understand. It's like FanZcene's reaction of like watching a few minutes of it and cutting out makes sense, but I watched it all so I can explain why that makes so much sense. Because they could have surprised you, but they didn't. They just kept.
That being said, we're not getting back into it because I don't care to talk about it.
Shout Factory announced their March slate with Quigley Down Under in 4K. That one's going to be a popular one. And then
you know what? I got a funny story about that movie. right? Because we was having a yard sale once, and we were getting rid of some VHS tapes back in the day, and my uncle was there, and he brought Quigley down under to sell, and he's like, "That'll be the first movie to go. You watch and see." And we was all laughing at him and making fun of him. Damn it, if he wasn't right, the first person pulled into the driveway, brought Quigley down under and left.
Yeah.
But anyways, go ahead. I just thought that was funny.
I was trying to find the other Shout Factory one here. Because I know they announced something else.
Was one, wasn't it?
What one? What was it?
Since 8 was coming from Shout.
Maybe. Oh, K-19.
Child's
That's
Play.
the other one. And Carrie and Child's Play, the remake.
Yeah, remake. Yeah.
Which are all up on their website now. And the Blu-ray of the remake of The Shining as well.
Oh yeah, the TV one. That's one Stephen King prefers.
Yeah, well, we all know Stephen King ain't the same guy no more.
No, he's not.
I'm starting to wonder if he didn't have somebody write most of that shit back in the day and he just paid.
It feels weird, especially reading his tweets now. It's like,
yeah.
Are you sure that you're the same guy, or do you need some more coke?
Yeah.
Who does he rule over anyway?
His own fucking domain, I guess.
Yeah. Does League of Their Own have their 4K
in a Columbia box set?
I was gonna say I thought it was
in the
one
Columbia
of the
box set. In fact, that is one of those rare occasions where it is 100% from the negative, like the Francis Ford Coppola Outsiders one. They even redid all the credits and shit on the film. So it's I haven't got a chance to check out yet, but I've heard it's one of the better, like from beginning to end 4K transfers. Yeah, they took a lot of care with that one.
I wonder,
give it a single release.
I wonder because Columbia has their 100th anniversary thing that they'll like re-release. Well, they'll release.
I wonder. And see, that came out in '92, so I'm surprised it didn't get a release last year for the anniversary. Which is strange. And the League of Their Own one, that was one I was kind of surprised was in the Columbia box set anyway. I'm like, this was big enough one that it should have got its own release anyway. It was a huge film when it came out. So,
if La Bamba is getting its own release.
Yeah, exactly. Like I think that League of Their Own outgrows La Bamba by quite a bit.
And the Raid is getting a 4K steelbook too.
Actually, they're pretty similar. Actually,
132
for League of Their Own and 54 for La Bamba. So if you go with inflation by a few years, give or take, blah blah blah. Yeah.
But
actually, it makes a little more. Actually, you're probably more right. Makes less sense to put La Bamba out as a single than it does League of Their Own.
Yeah, and what is it? They're releasing the first Raid on like a steelbook 4K, and that was like a film festival type movie, you know.
I still haven't seen it.
It's a masterpiece.
Yeah,
it's my favorite action movie of all time, honestly.
Yeah, I don't think the Indians were offended by that. I just think they were afraid to be canceled, so they just gave in.
And they changed the name or whatever to Guardians.
The Guardians. I think most people in Ohio still like refer to them as the Indians because they don't give a. You
know what's funny about that? I had an argument with a fucking coworker about that shit. I don't know, like I get in a lot of arguments with this specific guy, and he's a cool guy, but like I don't agree with him.
But I really argue with him.
Yeah, it's like some of his takes are just like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like this is the same guy. Remember when I told you he didn't like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and I have a huge argument with him like during work and shit. Remember I told you that?
Yeah.
This is the same motherfucker.
That's insane.
Who had an argument about the Cleveland Indians and shit. It's like, dude, nobody fucking cares. Like, don't be one of those motherfuckers.
Yeah, nobody really cares unless you actually.
And then he just talked back to me saying, "No, you don't be one of them."
I'd be like, "Are you Native American? Is this against your sensibilities? Shut the fuck up, dude."
It's like nobody cares. Like
nobody cares. I live in Ohio. Nobody gives a shit. Nobody cares. They still call them the Cleveland Indians.
Yeah, and I basically said to him like, do you like give a shit about this? Because I don't think you do.
I mean, they're still doing the tomahawk chop up there, just like they do in Washington for the football team. So
the Redskins.
The Redskins, yeah. I honestly couldn't think of the name just now. But with all that being said, that's it for the releases. I hope there's something good it caught anybody's eyes. But since we're here to show you some physical media, let's get to the physical media. So let's start with Drunken Runner. So what do you got for us, Runner? Let's go with you first.
Oh fuck. Okay.
He's like, oh shit, we're doing a show where I got to show stuff.
Wait, movies? Oh
no, I thought you
those.
No, it's just I thought you were gonna do Rookie first, but
no, you're in the
he's
slot,
only got
though.
2.
You're in the slot.
You said you got 4. He's got 2
Yeah, okay.
Well, let me go first, I guess.
No. Fair enough. That's fair. Let me all right. I rewatched this movie.
Hey,
get this one out of the way.
Oh, for fuck's sake, it's the new Scream.
Yes.
What? Did you guys really talk about this?
We have talked about Dodgeball like 20 fucking times now.
Literally twice.
What?
But, that's okay.
No way.
I swear you were Greg have brought it before, and then Rook brought it last week. Yeah, somebody had.
Rookie.
I think I brought it as a guest a long time ago, and then I brought
it had to have been
Rookie
because
he's brought it twice.
He's trying to make it the new Scream on purpose.
No,
I just like it.
Okay. Here's the thing.
Wait a minute. Put that back up. Is that the full screen edition?
I bought this at a fucking Salvation Army. I don't give a
shit. Get
the
fuck out. Get him out of here.
Hey, what's he supposed to do without Best Buy, Tom? You tell me.
He's got half the goddamn movie there.
I didn't
Best Buy's God. He doesn't know what to do.
I didn't get this at Best Buy. I got this at a fucking.
I know. Without Best Buy,
disappointed first of all because you're bringing fucking Dodgeball in here, and then you got the audacity bringing a fucking full screen edition. What the fuck?
Hey, that's all good, Runner. You talk about Dodgeball. You go.
It's not even the unrated one either.
And I didn't even
I
didn't even watch the DVD version. I watched it on Hulu one night.
Didn't even watch the.
Well, it's not the full screen version. It's
probably a better quality. Yeah, I guess.
Exactly. So like maybe Tom could at least. I didn't watch the full screen version. Does that make you happy?
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
The fact that you watch Dodgeball alone just.
What's wrong with Dodgeball?
It's funny. It's funny.
Yeah. Like, plus, I'd rather talk about this. I'd rather have this be the new Scream than fucking Scream.
Well, at this point, it sounds like Scream 7's not even going to be the new Scream. So.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, Dodgeball
like
has less content.
I know. I'm waiting to hear Paramount just announce that they're gonna cancel it.
Well, gonna announce shit. It's just not gonna happen.
You're just gonna quietly sweep it under the rug.
Wait a minute. Speaking of sequels and all that, didn't they announce a sequel to this? Because
announcing sequels, I don't know how much that means anymore. There's been tons of things announced for sequels, so.
I know, but like,
it's like every time they ask poor Alicia Silverstone if she'd ever play Batgirl again, trying to make that girl think she still has some kind of career.
I feel like people don't want to say no definitively, so it's like, well, I mean, that sounds so likely, huh?
I'll play Batgirl again.
But like, Rook, you gotta understand. You know, this is like this was produced by 20th Century Fox, right? Now Disney owns this.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
So Disney wants to do a sequel to Dodgeball. That worries the shit.
Well, anything Disney owns, I'm not surprised if they want to milk anything they own now. Dodgeball's one of the films that, to me, it is a solo movie alone. You don't need to make sequels or franchise out of everything. It's a good movie. It's of its time. But I'm not surprised if Disney were to try to milk it. It's just
also like Ben Stiller's production company produced this, so I'm not sure. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
but what has that done lately? Like, what have they done lately?
But here's a good question about it. Was Dodgeball filmed in anamorphic or closed map? Maybe the full screen actually shows more.
Well, it says here it was shot in 35 millimeter. Doesn't say if it was. Hang on, Super 35. So it would be technically an open map, but that doesn't mean that they released the full screen in an open map version. It all depends on how it's handled. It could be an open map, but I don't know. I'd have to see it to compare it.
Yeah.
Joey Andrews, if they made sequels and if they were good, that'd be awesome. But the likeliness of that is unlikely.
I partially don't understand this new obsession with people and getting the open map versions of things. Andre's a part of this obsession lately.
What's open matte?
Okay, so when you shoot a film, unless you're using an anamorphic lens, you have a square image.
Okay.
Unless you're shooting like super like 65 or 70 millimeter or what have you.
Ratio stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
So in most cases, most films are shot on just a flat 35 millimeter super 35 film, and then they just mask off the top and the bottom to make the widescreen version. Now, the thing is with this, and this is why I kind of question why people even want this sometimes, other than just for a laugh or whatever once in a while, because I would never want to watch a whole movie where I see shit in the frame I'm not supposed to see. And a lot of times shit's masked off anyway. So you're seeing it's almost like to me watching like letterbox shit all over again. It's like so you got this tiny screen because everything's cut off and cropped off anyway.
Yeah,
especially all the special effects shots.
Yeah,
but then like other times just open up and you can see more at the top and the bottom, but you can see microphones and shit sometimes and lights and stuff sometimes and other shit you're not supposed to see.
Which is also why widescreen helped out, right? It helped hide some.
Yeah, well, they would mask it off. Yeah, but they just did that to be safe to make sure they got the amount of what they wanted on the frame.
Yeah,
and they could, and actually, this is going to come up in one of my reviews later on, because then they could also zoom in and do other things if need be, as well. So
right.
I got a question. Did this even get a Blu-ray release? Because I'm not.
Yeah, I think so. I haven't seen it, but
I was gonna say because. Like, this is honestly like if 20th Century Studios or whatever the fuck they're called now, if they were to release this in 4K, I'd be okay with that in terms of like a comedy and stuff. Like, this is one I would be fine.
I would say they.
I got a great example.
Huh?
I don't know. I was to say I got a great example right here of an open mat because Andre sent me the 4K scan of the open mat at Jurassic Park, and you can see exactly what I'm talking about here. So this is the open mat version of Jurassic Park. You can see the microphones and shit. You're not supposed to fucking see.
I'll be honest with you. I could kind of see why people are getting into it because they see that stuff like that.
Yeah,
I can see why people get into it in that.
But at the same time, and this one I wanted just because
I guess if you want to learn sort of behind the scenes and shit and how they use mics, sure.
It's like, is it like the Starbucks cup thing with Game of Thrones? Oh, look, there was a mistake caught on camera. Is that the?
No. This is. And I was trying to crop this just so you guys can see the difference here.
Right.
But it won't zoom in for some reason. Oh, here we go. Zoom maybe.
I like to zoom in.
No, it crops 16 by 9. Okay, why is it not cropping it? I don't know. It's not cropping it for some reason, but yeah, it would normally you would crop off somewhere around there and somewhere around here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's enough space above their head to
narrow
it down and with their center.
But then, so let me try and find like an effects shot here. Like all the effects shots. See, at least this person actually zoomed in on the effects shots. But normally, this would have a black mat at the top and the bottom on the full. So you couldn't actually watch this version and mask it off yourself because you'd be losing shit.
You'd be losing a lot more. And it'd be scrunched in like a letterbox.
You'd have to do it by frame to do it.
But this does actually look better than the 4K Blu-ray, even though it's off a print and not the negative, just because that 4K Blu-ray is not from the negative either. But anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, but as you can see there, that's kind of the whole how it works. You know, they just crop it off. You don't see everything.
You can like, even though I know this isn't like a 4K representation, you can kind of see how the image does look better than, you know.
But like I said, you can see they jumped, like they zoom in here because this shot would have been cropped off in the standard version anyway. So we just have black on the top and the bottom, which is basically how. That's why, you know, you wouldn't notice it if you're watching the theater because they already have it cropped off for you. Now we just went through a long, convoluted thing, but at least we didn't talk about Dodgeball.
What's wrong with talking about Dodgeball? I want to talk about Dodgeball.
I think he doesn't like talking about movies that he likes that he's been talked about to death, right?
That's part of it. That's part of it. The other half is Dodgeball is one of those movies that I think is kind of overrated. It's funny, but it's like one of those movies that people always pull out like fucking Top Gun and shit.
Well, it's like, to me, I feel like people watched it when back in the day, and then
it's one of those movies that most guys have. That's my point.
Like, it's a good example of comedy back in the day, I'd say.
I'll be completely honest. I watched this in 5th grade because my cousins liked this, and I didn't see it. Like, that was the only time I've ever seen it, and then I rewatched it. I'm like, fuck! Like, I actually like this a little bit more now, and I actually know the cameos in it now. You know,
Yeah,
so
It's just
cool.
one of the dozen movies I picture on every bros like,
Bro.
well, like, you know, it's funny.
You know,
it's like
DVD collection.
When I like
Dude,
when I watched this movie and I'm like, fuck, like I can see why Rook likes this movie because of the comedy in it.
You can
it's
hit
like
water if you fell out of a boat. Almost a Yo Mama joke level joke.
No, but the type of comedy that this movie has, I'm like, I could see why Rook loves this movie, because I remember we talked about it a few times. I think he tweeted about it and I commented saying, man, I gotta rewatch this movie. I haven't seen it in like over a decade. And he's like,
I mean, I
you
appreciate
you should rewatch it. It holds up.
And I appreciate that era more now than I did at the time, because at the time we were just getting inundated with tons of comedies like that. So that was just another one.
Yeah.
But now looking back, it's definitely one of the better of those at that time. And now that we have no comedies,
yeah,
like
no
it is,
comedy.
yeah, it is one of those that you can kind of lean back to and go, yeah, this is one of the last good ones. Besides like Tropic Thunder and
Tropic Thunder nailed it.
I mean, Tropic Thunder is obviously the better movie.
Yeah, I'd say that. Yeah, definitely.
But what was it?
That's another thing you got with like Ben Stiller. His problem, he'll do something like fucking Tropic Thunder and it's fucking brilliant, right? And then he'll fucking make Cable Guy.
I like
Cable
Heartbreak Kid, and the Heartbreak Kid was horrible.
Or Heartbreak Kid. For every Dodgeball, you got a Heartbreak Kid. For every
I haven't
Tropic
seen
Thunder.
Kid.
Oh God, it is
bad.
My girlfriend at the time that came out drugged me to it in the theater, and I thought, all right, it's Ben Stiller comedy. Who gives a shit? I know it's a remake, but whatever. I'd never seen the original, and I'm about halfway through the movie, and I'm like, if the original is anything like this, my God, because these people are completely unlikable. Like there is not one single person. That's all I remember about the movie, is that there's not one single person in the movie who's likable, redeemable, or even a decent fucking human being in any goddamn way whatsoever. It is one of the most unlikable, unwatchable fucking things I'd ever sat through in my life. And my girlfriend at the time agreed. She's like, I apologize for it. And it's not your fault. I said, like, this thing, they advertised it like the next Something About Mary. And this is a fucking depressing, fucking sadistic comedy.
It is.
And I don't mean
really
like
bad.
it's not like it has like a bunch of shit in it to where you're just like, it's gross or anything like that. It's just very mean spirited. Like the whole movie feels like it was made by somebody who was pissed off.
Right. Especially when you get to the end of the movie and it's like,
yeah,
for real? You're going to do that like that?
I think the only character in the movie who's completely innocent is like the girl that Ben Stiller's like going after or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't remember if she even has something later on that comes up that makes her kind of irredeemable as well. I can't even remember. It's been that long since I've seen it.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
It's one of the movies that I'll never buy. You know, like
yeah, that's one no. I remember watching that and just thinking, what? Why? that's like what? But anything you want to say for Dodgeball before we move on to Tom Runner?
You can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball.
Yeah, no, Rip Thorne was fucking great in that role. And like, was it Justin Long, the guy who gets hit by the wrench? I totally forgot. I didn't like know who he was at the time, but then like when I saw him in like the horror movies and shit that he was in, I was like, oh shit, it's Justin Long, but like younger.
There's the one thing I always remember laughing at the most about with him. I can't really say that joke on air. It's just like when he calls him a slur and he goes, me, you.
Wait, what movie was this?
Dodgeball.
Oh, Dodgeball?
Oh yeah. When he says blank bait. He's like me or
like me or I always thought that was like the funniest bit of the movie. Honestly,
Patches is picking them.
Why? I just did.
No, but Ben Stiller's wife in this movie is fucking hot as hell.
Yeah. All right.
No, but that one scene where like she like throws the ball and stuff at the standee thing, and what Rip Thorne says after that was that blank, whatever. I can't say the word, but can play.
Yeah, there's jokes in there you can't get away with nowadays.
I was just gonna say I don't want to get your channel or stream in trouble. So That's why I'm trying to censor myself. But you know the joke. You know the line.
But
I laughed my ass off when he said that. It was fucking hilarious. I'm just like, I remember, and I'm watching this. I'm like, fuck, they would never. It's like like they would never make a good sequel out of this. Not under, Disney under Fox or Fox under Disney anyway. They would never make a good sequel out of this. If they did, it would be shite.
Yeah. We're going to go ahead and get to Tom now, but I do want to say thank you to the Original Fuzz for becoming a new member, and we got to get this guy on the channel, the Original Fuzz. Sorry, I didn't mean to say Fudge. Fuzz. He's got an amazing channel right now. Check him out, guys. He's killing it over there, and he does a lot of physical media, and he's got a great collection. We definitely got to try to get him on here one day. He's a great guy, so
Nice.
Check him out. Yeah.
Nice.
Yes. But thank you, Original Fuzz. I appreciate that. But Tom, let's go to you since you and Runner have the most tonight. We'll start with you for the part 2 here.
All right. So I'm doing one of the regular ones. Okay. I'd been on my Courtroom kick, and I made the mistake of buying The Trial with Anthony Perkins in 4K from the Criterion Collection. And I assume it's directed by Orson Welles. It doesn't say anywhere on there. It just says an Orson Welles film.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to talk about that tonight, but I only got about 45 minutes into it before I shut it off. Because it is just one of the most unwatchable things I'd ever seen in my life. It's annoying. And then I read about it a little bit, and I'm like, so this movie's never going to tell me what the fuck is going on? Well, fuck this movie. Because that's kind of the whole point of the movie, and I'm like, well, that's just irritating.
You want to
And
stick
just
around?
short-
What happens next? Want to see what happens next? Want to see what happens? Nope.
That's kind of like it. What? Yeah, because it starts out, and Anthony Perkins is being accused of something. He's under arrest. They won't tell him what for. Throughout the whole movie, that's the whole gimmick, is he does not know what he's under arrest for. And I get it. The gimmick is trying to make fun of, or not make fun of, but shine a light on McCarthyism and the whole communist scare of that era. I get it. But I read the synopsis and I'm like, so they never even tell him what he's accused of? And in the trial part isn't even a main part of the movie. So it's like, it's just a bunch of like, it's excuses for Orson to do a bunch of experimental filmmaking shit. So I really just got agitated with the fucking movie, and I shut that off and I watched this instead. So I watched Kill a Mockingbird.
Great movie.
There you go.
With the great Gregory Peck, a movie that I read the book in school, of course, and we
I
watched the movie.
I read and watched the book in school too.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of like zooming and stuff on the 35 millimeter film, that was one of the reasons why I said it will come up, because it's done a lot here in this movie, and it does hurt the 4K image. So this is like one of the lesser 4K movies I've ever seen. So if you already have this on Blu-ray, chances are you're not going to gain a bunch from the update. Now, some shots look amazing. Some of this stuff looks really great, but they were clearly doing a lot at the time with the cinematography, with the zoom in feature of the film and stuff like that. So some of those things are taken from, whatever other stock at the time they had. So it shows. Like there's a lot of DNR noise reduction on those scenes and balancing out the grain and stuff. The other shots look great. Some shots look as bad as like almost VHS quality. Like they are bad. They've lost that much resolution over the years. So this was one that I felt like was in much more need of better restoration. Picture otherwise though is good. Like I said, outside of a few random scenes and shots. So don't let that like totally detour you. Because actually I've seen this at a pretty decent price. So if you don't already own it, it's definitely worth picking up.
I was debating, but now I'm not so sure.
And this also has, at least they have the original mono mix on here. They have the new 5.1 mix on here, which there is a variable in it to where it's like it's the same audio, but the way it's presented in the 5.1 mix compared to how it sounds in the mono mix actually sounds like audio of the time, like it was recorded at the time. Sounds like the 1960s and whatnot. The 5.1 mix is one of those instances where it's really nice if you want to have it to open up and make it feel nice in your home theater, but it almost feels like they're almost too clean, right? Because like the soundtrack, everything is completely cleaned up. There's no hiss, you got all the stereo effects and all that kind of stuff. It doesn't sound like they created any effects, but it just kind of feels different. So again, though, for those who are the purists out there, you should be happy to know that the original audio is on here, plus a slew of extras. So yeah, on that point, if you can get it for under $20 or under 15, I'd say it's worth it. But other than that, don't expect your socks to get knocked off by the quality or anything.
I was curious about it because I've had it actually in my hands a few times when I've been to a store, and I put it back because I was like, I like this movie, but is the 4K worth it? So I was curious about that because I don't think I ever heard a lot of people actually talk about it, to be honest with you. So I was curious, and I know it's Robert Duvall's first film appearance, I believe.
It is.
So yes.
Well, I think this was an early one. This was an early one for Universal, so it does have some issues, right? So like keep that in mind. Like it was not as good looking as Jaws and some of their other earlier 4K releases. So
quick question, Tom.
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of hate to ask you this question. What's the movie you tried to watch? What was that called? I'm just curious.
The Trial. And the only reason I'm bitching is that I wished I would have got it like a lot cheaper, even though I think I got it half price because it's a Criterion.
I was gonna say, was that the Criterion? Because I remember seeing that. And
I was disappointed because I thought it was gonna be like a trial movie, and it's like, no.
And that wasn't because I remember hearing that release or getting that released or whatever, and it was an Orson Welles thing. And
I'll come back to it now that I understand what it is and when I'm getting into it, but when I sat down to watch it, I was expecting like a courtroom drama.
Yeah, when you get into a certain mindset, I understand that completely. It can ruin the experience of a movie.
I was irritated as fuck. Yeah, I was like, "What the fuck is this?"
No, it's just funny when you mention.
Because I love Orson Welles, right? No, so like to me, that was kind of a. And he's not. I didn't even get to the point where he's in the movie.
It's just funny when you mention Orson Welles because last night I watched Ed Wood, the Tim Burton movie where Vincent D'Onofrio plays Orson Welles in it.
You know who does the voice though? Maurice LaMarche or whatever. Maurice LaMarche. How do you say his name? Maurice LaMarche, I think it is how you say it. The guy who did the voice of Pinky in the Brain and Egon.
Oh yeah, that guy.
Yeah. He does the voiceover instead. It's not Vince Vaughn's voice. Or not Vincent D'Onofrio's voice. We were talking about Dodgeball earlier. Sorry.
Yeah, that's fast funny. The Dodgeball curse.
But yes, I'm sorry. I thought I smelled something burning. I had to go check it real quick, but it was nothing. So I missed a little bit of conversation there. But I will say I did remember when we were told.
Are you sure you shouldn't go to the doctor if you're smelling something burning and nothing was?
No, I think
I was going to say something like that.
Here's the Trial, and I think I got it for like $20-some, so it technically was half off. But like I would have paid half that and been a little less disappointed, I guess.
Yeah, I was gonna say for a Criterion 4K, that's pretty.
It looks really good. I will tell you that much. I mean, as far as the scan goes,
because I don't think I've ever gotten something from Criterion where it's been that cheap.
No, I think it was like $20-some is what I paid for it. It just happened to pop up in the Blu-ray thing, and I'm like, oh. And I kind of vaguely remember hearing about it in the past because Orson's a lot of his movies are kind of half-ass whatever, and then I remember it came out late last year or whatever it was. I'm like, oh yeah, I never picked that one up. So I saw it for $20-some on sale, and I'm disappointed, but like I said, I'll revisit it. Killing Mockingbird though is a classic, and of course it's one of those movies I love to bring up when everybody's like woke Hollywood this and that and the other. It's like, bitch, please. We had Killing Mockingbird years ago. Go watch that movie and tell me, like, and it's an amazing film.
It is, because that was one of the things like I remember in school when they're like when they presented the book to us, so like first we're going to read this and then we're going to watch the movie, and then everybody groans, and then you actually start reading the book, and then you get really into the book, and then you actually see the movie, and you see the movie, and it's a damn good movie, and it's just like it's great story and everything, so it really works out, and I mean. To show like we had better movies back in the day than we do now that we're representing better. So yeah, but it is a good movie. I remember it. So maybe I'll just stay with the Blu-ray then. I don't know. I'm still debating.
You at least learn how to kill a mockingbird in the movie.
No,
Have you
learned why you don't kill a mockingbird?
You don't.
And it plays into the final part of the film. Yeah.
Did they not make you watch that in English class?
It is one of the better adaptations of a book, man. Yeah.
No, I mean, we watched we watched like Count of Monte Cristo. There's other stuff we watched.
It's so damn good and so well cast and all that shit, and hits all the main points of the book that, yeah, for years that was like one of the quintessential ones in almost every literature class that they would go to was Kill a Mockingbird.
Yeah, no,
yes, Doug, I'm joking.
Eighth grade English class was when I read the book and watched the movie.
I'm getting around to Jury Duty. I almost did the other night. I should have watched it with 12 Angry Men, because that's all it is a remake of 12
it's a remake. Yeah. It's funny. It's hilarious.
You can't handle the truth.
Double Fat said he got the Studio Canal, the trial USD a while back.
Yeah, and that's another thing I noticed. It had Studio Canal's name on the back here. I wonder if I could have imported it cheaper, but by the time you figure shipping costs and shit, probably not.
Yeah,
it is what it is. I'll get back around to it someday. It was just, I thought that'd be a funny story.
Yeah, it worked. You've still got me wanting to watch Primal Fear, and it just so happened, like we mentioned earlier, it's coming to 4K. So
I've been sitting there looking at my Blu-ray this last week, going, "You motherfucker!"
I know. I was this close to
because I bought it.
Watching it.
It's been a while ago now, but I'm just like looking at it, going, "You dirty bastard!"
Just staring at me like that, you bitch.
Yeah, you fucker, you loser. I'm not going to even open you now.
That is a good movie, though. I know I've been so tempted to watch it too, and then it's like, oh, we get a 4K, so maybe I'll wait. But Rook, let's go to you. What do you got for your first pick of the night?
Real quick, Tim says, "Who loves horror, a runner or rookie? They're both pretty young."
That's not what he said.
Or what?
Now he was asking Doug who he's talking about, joking and shit.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Runner or rookie? They're both pretty young.
Oh.
Okay, it's Rook because I don't sound anything like him, and that was coming out of his mouth.
Y'all look absolutely nothing alike, sound nothing alike.
Exactly.
I think he's like 10 years older than you, or at least somewhere in that range. But yeah, no, that's the joke. It's like everybody else has problems mixing you two up, but me.
Rookie, runner, rookie. Which one's
That's
which?
Part of the joke.
Which one is me?
Oh God, I see the Mighty Ducks guy.
Yes. Yes. I decided to actually give them a rewatch. I was like, I had it out, and I was like, you know what?
Quack. Mr. Ducksworth.
I'm actually going to rewatch them because I watched them as a kid.
You know what's funny? Is I had not seen these movies in a while, and I should have watched them again this last week. I almost had the inclination because I have this trailer channel I follow, and he's always dropping 35 millimeter 4K scans of old trailers. And this last week, he dropped the Mighty Ducks trailer, and I'm like, God damn, that was pretty edgy for early 90s fucking Disney.
Yeah. A little.
Yeah. That first movie was, yeah.
Well, I'd be curious to hear what you think if you watch all three of them. So this is the first time I watched all three.
I've only seen the first one.
I'm not a big fan of the third one.
I remember not liking the third one as much either, but on rewatch, I think it's actually pretty good. Like, so all three of them, I think, have they like perfected that what is it, like underdog type of story that they always do, and like the certain beats that you have throughout the movie where they don't get along at this point.
This is a Bad News Bears movie,
things
is what
like
it is.
that. Yeah, I guess so. I haven't seen Bad News Bears, but I believe
that's the genre that started it.
But they do it really well, I think, because that's the thing. You can have a movie that started the genre. Formula. You can have a movie that does that formula and do it badly, do it horrible. This does it in all the ways. Hits you in those little spots. But the story throughout all three of them is mainly the first two is mostly about Gordon Bombay, the coach, who starts out as a kid, he winning penalty shot essentially, and the final shot he misses and they lose. There's like the only loss in like the Hawks history of that team. And as an adult, he becomes a lawyer and stuff. He's drunk, driving and stuff, and gets messed up. He has to do community service, has to coach the team. And it's just this shitty little team that doesn't even have a uniform or whatever, doesn't have all the safety stuff. And he does not give a shit about any of the kids. And then it starts, learning to, be okay with them. He has a older mentor, you could kind of say. I'm just calling him the mentor because that's technically the role of Hans with it. And, just kind of humbles him a little bit. And then he starts to bond with the kids. You guys all know this type of story, of course. It's not like you haven't seen it before, but they do it well. But by the third one, it's really a lot about them growing up, and it shifts from the focus from Bombay to Charlie, which I know, Tom, I think you said that Emilio Estevez couldn't be in the third one as much. Is that right?
He didn't want to be.
I think that was a good move, though, because it made when he is in the film, his importance, like it actually has better meaning and substance to the story. And even like the coach Orion, who like replaces him as the coach, I think they do a good job with that approach as well. I mean, the kids.
He's the reason I didn't. It wasn't so much that Emilio Estevez had a reduced role in the third movie. I didn't like the new coach. I did not like him.
What do you remember about him? Because
I just remembered I didn't like him. I felt like they were trying too hard to make you like him. Like you knew he was going to be their coach. You knew at the end they were going to accept him, but it felt like they were just kind of shoehorning him too much.
I don't know. I mean, it's the first time in the series where they don't have villainous coaches necessarily. They don't have villainous teams. Like they have the varsity team is the other team, but it's more like a rivalry instead of the evil Iceland team or the evil Hawk team. It's like, I don't know. They bring you down to a more, you can kind of get it level than a good versus evil sort of thing that they almost do with them with that's our rival evil team that are in black and are all organized and hardcore. This was just, the varsity is a little rougher essentially, but they are more cordial. But with the coach, I like his approach because he's just pretty strict. He's a normal strict coach. I played sports in high school. He just seems like a normal coach, honestly. And then Charlie has a hard time growing up. And he hates his coach. He hates his coach. But then it's like, dude, he's just tired of everything changing because Bombay's not there. Hans dies at a certain point in the movie. There's a lot of the Ducks are separated. They're not called the Ducks. There's the Warriors here. He's not liking anything going on. And he just hates Orion. He calls him, he's like, oh, you're just a washed up person from the stars, like somebody who left and is a stupid bully trying to coach now. You think you're cool. But he left his team because his daughter got in a car accident and he didn't want to move with the stars team to where they went to. So he stayed with his daughter and whatever. And it's just like the way that they do it just, I think, worked because the coach wasn't the focus. I liked how they did it. As to where Bombay was the focus.
Usually when the movies like the kids there to keep them on, it usually does shift focus to them, especially when they get into teenagers. I think, what was it that we talked about, Tom, when you mentioned that Emilio Estevez took it because he wanted to direct or something?
Yeah.
Yes, he got a deal with Disney to direct the movie. I can't remember the name of it, but it was a post-Vietnam story with him and his dad. Like The War at Home or something like that it was called.
Yeah.
But right. It wasn't under the Disney title. It was like
Touchstone or whatever. Yeah. But they basically buried the fucking movie. They really fucked him over. And that was like that experience kind of turned him off of Hollywood for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I got you. But I mean, so I'll go back to the first one for a sec. So I mean,
actually, that one's never really come back. But
he never really fully.
First one starts with the kids essentially being, little kids doing little pranks. They make a dog eat some food, it poops. They put it into a purse, put $1 in a purse, and have some guy pick it up and you darn kids, and chases them. Speed it up and play the music that plays with it. They do the cartoony-ish type of stuff with it here and there, but they do have their moments along the way that I think. Even as an adult, you can watch and enjoy a little bit. I mean, some parts are annoying. Goldberg, he farts and everybody, Goldberg, he's like, what? I'm the fat kid. One of those things. But
this movie's chock full of stereotypes. That's the beauty of it.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah, but it has it in a good way, I think, because they have the variety. They have even the girls on the team, but they never at once are like, we have girls on the team, huh? It's just
Disney. You were diverse back in the 90s. You forgot.
Yeah.
It was just like one of the things where at that age you could have some mix because they're so young. You could have a mix of boys and girls at some of the level. There's usually only like one or two that are on the team anyway, usually at a time. And I don't know. It's just a funny little one for the first movie. I don't think is the best. It's not like it's the worst, but I think number 2 is the best and how they do it. Because I mean they. Man, it's a tough one.
Mighty Ducks 2 is like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2. All the edge completely shaved off. Soft as hell, safe as hell. That's what I felt about part 2. I like it, but it's like this is way too kiddie.
It does get a little more kiddier than compared to the first movie.
I mean,
he was literally drinking and on the ice, and was that's where you get the bad news bears type thing. And the second one is so much more like kidlier, friendlier, but it's still a good movie.
I mean, I don't know. When you rewatch them, I want to hear what you think with that. But the third one, I think, is my favorite now after watching it, because they're growing up for the most part. Charlie's a stubborn little brat, essentially. He's like 14. He's supposed to be 14. He's just like a rebellious little turd. And when Hans dies, like Charlie's just been this asshole this whole movie. And then this is when Bombay comes in and shows him a little bit more, or humbles him down a bit. And Bombay, I feel like, he's the new mentor from Hans, essentially. Hans was the old Yoda, essentially. Bombay was the Obi-Wan, let's say. And he's, helping. He comes back and helps this little generation get their asses back in gear a bit. The first game that they play in the third one was really good, where our Ducks team, as we know them, are dominating. They were in like the USA, games and stuff. Like they were doing that, and it's high school now, and they're just dominating this team 9-0. But in the third period, the other team tightens up their defense and just goes hard and just catches up and ties it. And I thought that was good, because in the first half, they're doing all this. They do silly sound effects. They do their little tricks, and it's kind of funny. But then it goes into like a record scratch. Now we're a little bit more serious. And the music they even choose with it, there's like little choruses that they do here and there that make it kind of good. Like I'd say it's like got some good quality to it. So I think the third one, if when was the last time you saw it though?
Probably not since I was like
in
my early maybe not even early 20s. Maybe I was in my
I'm saying if you rewatch it, I think you'd see it differently. But I don't know,
because I remember watching it and not really liking it. I remember also thinking that they were just trying to repeat the second movie, because it literally is like, but even though they're older this time, they have another chance at a new team, just like they were the America's team. And by the end of the movie, they become the Ducks.
And I mean, to say that they're repeating the second film because they also try to do the Ducks at the end, though. I mean,
no, they were literally Team USA, and then by the end of the movie, they were wearing the Mighty Ducks uniforms. They become the Mighty Ducks. That school was called something else, and then by the end of the movie, they become the Mighty Ducks. That's what I mean.
I'm saying that's not integral to the story, though. Is what I'm saying. That's a very minor aspect of the whole story. So
it just felt very repetitive.
Well, I think all three of them they do a lot of similar things.
That's what happens with sequels, though.
It's a formula. It's also each of them does a formula. Each of them does a formula, though. But I'd say that the third one, if you watch them all in a row, especially, there's a lot of differences. So.
In the rarity of the one that likes the third one the most, I would say you're probably in the rarity there.
Right, but it's like how many people have rewatched the movies? So
I couldn't tell.
Kind of the thing that I'm getting at right here. You can have, if you watch something. I don't think everything you watched from 20 years ago, if you rewatch it, you'll feel the same. I just don't think so.
Typically, I'll be honest. Typically, I do. Because I typically, my first judgment is that sometimes, I won't lie, sometimes I'll watch something and go, hey, maybe I did like that, maybe I didn't. But I don't know. I really would have to go back and watch it. But from my recollection, I remember just not liking the third one that well.
Okay, that's cool.
But I did hear that one point in time, I can't remember. I think maybe it was the original director of the first movie. He was wanting to do another Mighty Ducks movie, and he wanted to get real serious with it. And it was going to be like a present day and flashback type movie where they were all going to be adults. And I believe like he had Jim Belushi was going to play Goldberg. And what it was they were all going to be like meeting at this bar because Coach Bombay had died. And Martin Sheen was actually going to play Martin Sheen, who is Emilio Estevez's dad, was going to play him as an old man. And what they were going to do is like the Mighty Ducks team was going to be at this bar. It was after his funeral. They were going to be drinking and telling stories about, and then they would be flashing back to the cast of, them at the age they were, like in their 30s.
They did 20s. The Wish version of that in the Mighty Ducks TV show, although Bombay was still alive.
Did they?
Yeah, they had them all meet at a bar, and it was like the most depressing reunion ever because like most of the kids there are like not even the main kids, and half of them are like kids that tagged along afterwards.
Right. Well, that's actually the thing. When you watch the movies, they cut off a lot of kids as they go, and they kind of narrow it down.
None of the original kids, except for I think Goldberg. I think was the original kid there.
Number 3, the original ones that were from the first movie is Averman and Fulton and Banks and Connie and Deke and Goldberg. I think those are the main ones from.
And again, like by the time you get to the Mighty Ducks TV show, which you can't even watch anymore because I believe they pulled it down. From,
I never saw that one. I heard
first season was all right. First season was all right. Second season, I don't know because I didn't watch it because they pulled it. They shit canned Emilio Estevez because he refused to get the vaccine.
Yep.
Man, that's disappointing. I wanted to check it out now after I just rewatched these and see. I was going to see how it is.
You can always pirate it if you want.
Yeah, you can always pirate it, I guess. But like, the first season was actually not too bad. It kind of is like a nice little nostalgic kind of trip, kind of Cobra Kai-ish, but not exactly Cobra Kai. I mean, it's a little heavier handed on the new kids than in the older sense. But what it is basically Bombay spent whatever money he had left on the old hockey rink, and it's fallen into disrepair. And you have a similar setup where kid's mom wants him to play hockey and all that kind of stuff. And of course, he doesn't fit into the team he's on, so they start up the new district again, same kind of deal. And of course, the inspiration is to get Coach Bombay to coach the kids, but he says no.
Yeah,
but he says, I'll help you teach the kids through you. So that's kind of where it gets a little woke, because he's like, no, I won't do it, but I'll show you how to do it, kind of thing, to the mom. So the mom's the actual coach. And then it actually gets to a thing where the kids, because that's the thing, is the kids like vote her out as coach and vote him in. And then it's like this whole thing near the end that he can't coach him because he wasn't the original coach. And when they go to the playoffs and shit like that, it's an all right kind of reunion kind of thing. But like I said, it's kind of sad when they get to the reunion bit with all the older kids now grown up, because like they literally grabbed whoever the fuck they could, and it was like the lowest bottom of the barrel Mighty Ducks kids.
Like,
you don't have any of the famous kids. Yeah.
Right. Well,
exactly. Like none of the famous kids outside of Goldberg, and he is rough looking as fuck. Because that was when that story came out.
Yeah, when he had drugs and stuff.
He was Russ and came into the Mighty Ducks 2.
Somebody will remember. I think most of the kids were from like Mighty Ducks 2. That was the sad part. But yeah, because I think
I got you.
I think the pie eater was there. I think the chick was there with him. Funny. The one that came in the second one.
Or Julie then. That's Julie.
I can't remember. But I'm like, none of these kids are from the first movie. That's all I remember. Well, maybe Aberman was there, but I'm not 100%.
But one good thing I'll say too about the cast is, even though it's a large amount of characters and stuff, you can kind of point them out, is what I'm saying. I don't think that their names are too forgettable when they say them, but some of them don't get as much screen time, but you kind of compare them without them being as much of a stereotype, except for number 2, sort of, when they introduce Luis and Julie and Dwayne. He's the cowboy one.
Okay, he's the Mexican one. I was right. Averman showed up. Fulton Reed showed up. Yeah. Guy Germain showed up. Adam Banks showed up. Connie Moreau.
Right.
Ken Wu. And Dean Portman, and like I said, I think most of those are from the second movie.
Yeah,
I remember right.
From D2, they were the international players for Team USA.
I always found it funny, like Eldon Henson, who was Fulton Reed, who was on the Daredevil TV show. I always remember thinking he was such a big dude in those movies, and then you see him now, and he's really not that big of a guy.
No. He didn't grow it past that point. He's the same size.
Really big at all.
When I was watching Daredevil, I was like, for the longest time, I was like, this motherfucker looks so familiar.
So I was wrong. Goldberg, I got mixed up with Fulton. So they never did get Goldberg in there. They tried digging him up, but he was all fucked up on drugs. Fulton is in there. He's the most famous of the bunch.
Yeah.
Right? So that would be the kid, as Bryant points out in the chat, played Foggy on the Netflix Daredevil.
Yeah.
And he would have been the big kid that they find in the first film. Yeah. So him and Averman, I think, are the only ones from the first movie in the actual show.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess the takeaway, though, I'd say from the movies is that they're definitely worth a rewatch if you guys ever watched them before. And if you haven't seen them, I'd say they're worth.
I got them on Blu-ray from the Disney Movie Club.
Don't take my praise of these movies as if I'm saying that they're fucking amazing and they're one of the best ever. No, don't misunderstand me. But they're good.
Man,
they're good
I thought that's what you meant.
I feel like when I'm praising,
when
I'm talking about a movie I just watched and I'm praising it, sometimes people are like, "Wow, he's talking like this is Shakespeare." No, it's not as bad.
That's why, like,
I understand where you're coming from. Greg and Tom kind of view me like that. Whenever I I'm like, oh my god, I love this movie. They think I'm praising it like it's Shakespeare, like you say, and it's like, no, like,
because there's a lot of goofy shit in here too. That's kind of like,
yes,
but that's
exactly
like how often do we I feel like I rag on more things more often than I do praise stuff. So I was doing a little more praise on that one,
but that's how I get with my reviews, because like you got. When I find a movie I like, I'll like, oh, this is freaking awesome and everything. Then I think to myself, maybe I shouldn't have gone that hard.
Well, I think it's especially when I'm recommending it, like when I think that people would see it, even if I don't think that it's like, even if I see a movie that I think is bad, I sometimes recommend the bad movie because it's worth seeing for whatever reasons that somebody else could pull out of it. Sometimes like that, I feel like you can get a lot from different stuff here, but these are not bad. I will say they're not.
I like the first two. Like I said, I remember not liking the third one, but it has been a very long time since I've seen them, so I'd have to go back and rewatch them to see. But I'm pretty sure I probably still wouldn't like the third one, but I'd have to give it a shot.
I don't know. I mean, for me, I feel like I've learned a lot of different things, and then I can critique things differently as for myself at my age here. So there's things that I've watched even 5 years ago that I might think differently on depending on what it is, like
it's true.
Yeah. So, but I mean, and that's the thing too. I'm in a stage in my life, I guess, where I'm willing to give everything a try. So, but you're 10 years ahead of me, so you might be done with that.
It's like, you hear that, ladies and men?
Yeah.
That's Mighty Ducks. Brought those on. I thought we should do the Mighty Ducks guy since that's been a meme for a little while.
Mighty Ducks. I gotta clip that. Dude. I gotta clip that.
Dude, I watched. I don't know if I watched that live or if I watched the replay of it on my phone. Like while I was like,
I think you were here when he said it.
Yeah, no, yeah, you're right. It was live when he said it. And I was like commenting in the chat.
You're like, did he just say the Mighty Ducks guy? I think was your...
No, that's not what I said. I just laughed my ass off.
Okay. Yeah.
That's all I did.
Maybe that's what we said then.
That's what you said. That's what you said. Because
I attributed it to you. You should be happy.
Yeah.
No, but you were like freaking out and shit, and I was literally listening.
I was beside myself at that point.
That's part of what makes it comedy work.
I never thought in my entire lifetime I would have heard Emilio Estevez referred to as the Mighty Ducks guy. Billy the Kid, sure. Mighty Ducks guy, Charlie Sheen's brother, absolutely. Martin Sheen's kid, sure. I've heard it a million times. The Mighty Ducks guy. Not fucking once in my entire life.
Other than
you're welcome.
Night at the Roxbury.
Listen, I watched that shit live.
Wait, do they refer him to that? Is that in the?
Have you not seen the Night at the Roxbury?
I think I have it, but I've never watched it. Or if I did, it's been so many years I don't remember.
That's why I'm
not a big Chris Kattan fan. I really can't stand him. But
yeah,
I get it. But like, there's a scene in the movie where they're trying to get into the nightclub and they're standing out and they're like in the back line and just start telling the story about how they were at this phone booth or whatever one day and they tapped the guy on the shoulder and he turned around and he's like, and who did it so happen to be? Emilio, the Mighty Ducks guy. I swear to God, it was him, and that's why I fucking lost it when Rook said it.
Oh, I thought okay, so he was actually making fun of that. Then I'm not aware of that. That was like a meta joke.
No, I don't know what that is.
Even seen that.
See, so he didn't even realize he made the joke.
No, that's why.
No, but I watched that whole thing live, and I was in the train getting back from work while listening to that, and fuck, I'd like laugh because that shit was just fucking hilarious. Like no, because there were like other people in the train too, and I'm like holding it in. I'm like, holy fuck.
Yes. Yeah, and Doug, I do hate Rebel Moon as
answer,
well. So yes,
I did not like Rebel Moon either, and I'm a Snyder fan.
Yeah, I would say Charlie Sheen as Wild Thing is.
I was gonna say Wild Thing to answer your question, Bryant. Wild Thing.
Yeah.
Wild Thing.
I always remember him in The Rookie with Nicolas Cage. Why did I say Nicolas Cage? I can't believe I just said that. That's an insult to Clint Eastwood. I always remember him in The Rookie with Clint Eastwood, and a bunch of other stuff.
Well, he was the Platoon kid before he was Wild Thing, but yeah.
Oh yeah,
and,
no, he was.
Or the bad kid from Ferris Bueller was what most people.
Ferris Bueller.
Yeah. I always remember him with Emilio himself. What's that movie where they're garbage
Men at Work?
Men at Work. I remember him.
From a lot of people bring that one up too.
Yeah. They were both in Young Guns.
Well, but I mean,
the Wraith. Yes, the Wraith. I love the Wraith.
The Wraith was it? But Young Guns. Otherwise, is usually when people Billy the Kid is when they bring up Emilio Estevez.
Yeah, Emilio. Yeah. Red Dawn. Yeah, I forgot about it. I always think more Patrick.
Best dollar he ever spent. I forgot. He was in Red Dawn. He was.
I forgot.
Charlie was kind of an unofficial Brat Pack member to where Emilio was a Brat Pack member. Yeah. That's the funny thing. Because Emilio was in Breakfast Club and St. Elmo's Fire. See, that's what made him an official Brat Pack member, where Charlie was always kind of considered a alumni or not alumni, adjacent or whatever kind of thing. Yeah, I mean he was considered in the group, but he wasn't an official one like Rob Lowe and Ali Sheedy and those guys like that.
Yeah, I can't think of all them. Judd Nelson.
Yeah. Anthony Michael Hall.
Yeah, Anthony Michael Hall. All right, well, we'll move on now from the Mighty Ducks.
These guys are going like, what the fuck is the Brat Pack?
Yeah, exactly. They don't know. Yeah. Molly Ringwald.
Yeah, it was basically this young and up and coming group of actual teenagers or young adults. Because before that point, like when you'd have a lot of movie stars, 9 times out of 10 they were like adults playing teenagers, right? So this was one of the first times outside of since the surf movie days where you actually had people who were close to or of that age playing their age, right? Because Molly Ringwald was like 16, 17 in 16 Candles.
Yeah, and Anthony Michael Hall was like 15 in Breakfast.
Yeah, another great example. John Cusack, another Brat Pack adjacent member, was also a younger member of that crew. So that is kind of what it was, this up and coming kind of just slew of new young actors that were just hot. John Hughes really utilized them a lot. Yes.
Yes. All right. Well, moving on to me from there.
Moving right along.
Speaking of hot young actors, this doesn't really have any but one.
Debbie Does Dallas.
Debbie Does Dallas. Close, sort of, I guess you could say. But I figured since I just did a review on this, I'd get this out of the way. Suitable Flesh, starring Heather Graham, Barbara Crampton, Bruce Davidson, and the one young kid, Judah Lewis there. I just got this. It just came out yesterday. If you're a fan of like the Reanimator type movies and From Beyond, Stuart Gordon type HP, because it's an HP Lovecraft movie, this is for you. This was a fun movie. I really enjoyed it. It's basically about a body swapping entity who takes control of this young kid, and then he's like body swaps between this young kid and Heather Graham, and Heather Graham is awesome in this movie. We do get to see one of her tits, just one in this.
wait, you only get to see one of whose?
Heather Graham's.
Well, you could see both in Boogie Nights. So.
Yeah, I know, but now she's in her 40s, which I was still surprised that she still got it. We get to see one tit. It's like I said, it's kinky, freaky, and a heck of a lot of fun. There is like a lot of sex, a lot less nudity than I anticipated in this, but there is like a lot of like kinky sex type stuff in this because it's like the entity that possesses them is a horny motherfucker. And he's just like going around and doing that. And then Barbara Crampton is still freaking awesome in this. She's hot. It's, if you've ever seen like the Reanimator movies or From Beyond, I would say more like From Beyond than Reanimator. This movie is very similar, and it's directed by Joe Lynch. So that's I figured that. Yeah,
I've been meaning to watch the Reanimator for the longest time.
Yeah, the Reanimator is good. I like the Reanimator, but this is it's essentially like they made it like it was a 90s horror movie, like straight to DVD, like horror movie back in the day, and it's dedicated to Stuart Gordon, who did Reanimator and From Beyond. It's set in his style and sort of like his H.P. Lovecraft world because it's an H.P. Lovecraft movie. And Heather Graham is just like badass in this movie. She's a psychiatrist. She comes obsessed with this kid who shows up at her. Well, I should say he's a kid because he's not a kid, but because he's an adult. He just shows up and he's like scared to death, and he's saying this after me, and then all of a sudden like he switches right in front of her, and then like she becomes obsessed with him, and like sexual things happen and stuff, and then like it's pretty intense movie, and funny and cheesy and campy. So if you like that type of stuff in your horror movies and feel like a sort of a 90s like VHS era like you find on your shelf type of movie, I do recommend Suitable Flesh. It's a good one. Go ahead, Runner. It looks like you want to say something.
Yeah, no, I had a question and I kind of forgot about it. I'm an idiot.
Good one. Oh, really?
No, I remember my question now. I got a question. So I thought about getting the Blu-ray from Arrow, the Reanimator one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm holding off on that because on the description or whatever it says 4K scan.
Yes, it is a 4K scan. However, a while back they actually found an uncut negative of the movie, and supposedly they're supposed to be doing a new 4K of Reanimator with the uncut version of the negative, but I've heard no news. It's been about a year now, but I've heard no news since.
Okay, my question is, should I wait or should I get the Blu-ray?
I mean, it could take a few more years before we actually get the 4K. So
yeah, no, because I did that with Arrow once when I got Mallrats. Ironically enough, it's like
the 4K of Reanimator or the Blu-ray of Reanimator has been out for a few years now. It's been out longer than Mallrats. So
I know, but like what sold me on the Mallrats Blu-ray that Arrow got was the fucking like map, the blue diagram shit of like the plans and shit. Like that's what sold me on it. And then like a year later they announced it 4K and I'm like, fucking hell. So and I got the 4K recently for that, unfortunately, but with the same shit that comes with it.
Yeah, they do that.
That's why I'm asking, like, should I get the Reanimator?
I mean, if you wanted to watch it, I'd go ahead. I own it. I'll probably buy the 4K when it comes out, but I don't think we're going to see the 4K for a while, at least for another couple years.
Because that's why I got the Blu-ray for Legend.
I say that and then like they'll announce it next week, but no.
Legend, because you told me about the whole story about the 4K and how they don't have all the negative and shit. That's why I got the Blu-ray for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's why I'm asking for the Reanimator.
Yeah, I would go ahead, but then again, they are
85 is when it came out, so the anniversary would be 2025. Keep that in mind.
Yeah, so he's liable to get it the next year. But it is true they are screening. They are screening the uncut negative this summer, so they'll be screening it. So we could get it.
Well, that means their scan's done.
Well, where are they screening it? Are they going to do?
I don't know. I saw Barbara Crampton promoting it. Yeah, I saw her promoting it. They're actually going to be doing it soon. And Corey Lynn Rogue here just says he's got an email about him. They're going to be screening it, and he's in the UK. But
probably the 4K will be out either later this year, or early next year, I'd imagine.
Yeah,
I'm wondering I wonder if they'll screen it in like. I mean, I live near Chicago, so I'm wondering if they'll screen it in the music.
Oh yeah,
box.
You'll probably have no problem.
Yeah, they'll probably. Yeah,
no, because the reason
you seem to have a lot of screenings that you can get to.
No, but like. No, because in the music box, they'll like re-release some movies where they'll show it in like 35 millimeter and shit. Like, was it like around like November of last year? They for a few days or 2 days or whatever, they showed The Exorcist, the original one, in 35 millimeter.
Yeah.
And my buddy and I watched Kubrick's last movie in 35 millimeter.
Yeah. But
so the place I'm talking about, they do a lot of that shit. So I'm wondering if they'll do that for the Reanimator.
They probably will. I couldn't believe Heather Graham is 53. I didn't know. I was expecting her to be in her 40s, and she's still got nice tits.
Yeah, she she looks pretty good overall.
Oh, she does. I mean, she's still good. I mean, they show her butt and they show one boob. But she still looks pretty good. So
you can see more of that in.
I know Nights. I've seen that movie. I'm much like Tom. I'm not a huge fan of Boogie Nights.
I like it. I think it's my favorite PTA movie, but that's just me.
But yeah, I like Suitable Flesh because you guys know me. I'm a fan of that. I'm a huge fan of H.P. Lovecraft. I've read his stuff. I like the Stuart Gordon H.P. Lovecraft world that he created, and so yeah. And I was just like, it was a good movie. And the dude, the young kid he's like 22 or something. He had to be the luckiest kid in the world to go in there and just like, today you're going to bang Heather Graham. So good luck. She's 53 and he's 22. So go on, get in there, get in on that. So that had to be like awkward and stuff, but it was a fun movie. I had fun with it. It truly felt like It really felt like this was a movie that I would have picked up off the shelves in the 90s, straight to video type movie. And I love those type of movies. So yeah, if you've never seen it, check it out. If you haven't watched my review, check out my review. Joe Lynch, the director, actually did retweet my review. He quoted it and everything. So that's pretty cool. But anyways, there you guys have it. Suitable Flesh. It's a good one. So let's see, how do we want to do this? Yeah, because I know I just went.
Wait, Random Brad. Can you clarify who would eat me alive?
He's talking about Heather Graham.
Oh, I'm okay with that.
I mean, I would too.
That's not the worst that could happen. And I'm okay with that.
It's fun. But yeah, that is interesting though. That I did about a year ago. I did hear that they found an uncut 35 millimeter negative of Reanimator, and it looks like they might. Like Tom said, if they're screening it, they probably got the scan done, and so maybe next year we'll get the 4K probably. So, but there you go. Check out Suitable Flesh. It's only like $15 too on Blu-ray. So if you're interested, that's like I said. This is once again like Rook. I like this movie. I'm praising this movie. Some people will see this movie and say that movie sucked. What is he on about? You have to be a fan of like a campy, sort of cheesy.
Well, yeah, I know it's tough. Like so far, I'm like maybe 1 in 4 or 5 of your recommendations. Where like I like the Monster Squad. Okay, 1 of 5 is not a great one. So like, because I like the Blob, I like the Fly, but I didn't like Lost Boys, and I didn't like Night of the Demons and stuff. So it's very hit and miss for me. But I like Monster Squad, and I like the Blob, and I like the Fly, I like the Thing. So it's like, yeah, I don't even know where my palette is yet necessarily. Since you bring I might check this one out though.
The fact that Greg said like, "Oh, this is the type of thing people would give me shit for." This is the same guy who makes fun of me for A24 and shit.
For no, but I'm not the only one that does that.
I know you're the only one that does that.
I said I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one. But since Rook brought up some movies there, we'll go ahead and do that. So, Tom, you want to go ahead and show yours first because he brought up an 80s remake that I think me, you, and Runner all have tonight. So we'll do that right now.
Oh, we're doing that one now? Okay.
Yeah, I think
we're doing that one? Shit.
Yeah, we'll do it right in the middle of the episode. That way Tom can figure out what he wants to go after that.
As we started upon last week, and we'll continue here, I started down the Fly path. As this came out last year from Shout Factory, I believe it was. And of course I have the original box release here. Now this is the same scan as this, but there is a bunch more special features on this new version. And then this also has the original stereo mix that this does not have. But picture wise, they look almost identical, just so you know. Yeah, no, and it's been quite a few years since I've watched The Fly 2. God, how long has it been? I swear it had to be back in the VHS days.
Back in my day, we watched The Fly every other Wednesday.
Yeah, I got my set too, and then since I don't have the old DVD because I did watch The Fly, the 80s Cronenberg, and I watched The Fly Returns not too long, or the Son of what I want to Fly 2. I keep wanting to call it the Son of the Fly 2 not too long ago.
I have that box set that you and Tom have. Because both of these are like the ones that come from the Shout version. but like I've only seen these.
That's an OG release of The Fly on the left there.
Yeah, I have. These are the original
right.
VHS. I'm trying to hold them up. Yeah, these are the
Your
original
left, my
VHS
right.
releases of The Fly and The Fly 2. Yeah.
I haven't seen the.
but yeah,
I
these are the
haven't
original
seen-
VHS releases.
I haven't seen The Return of the Fly, The Curse.
Oh, that is
of the
original
Fly,
Fly
or
2. I
the,
see the CBS Fox now. Yeah.
or the Fly 2.
Yeah, so this is
These are the only.
and I actually know something on hold on, Runner. I know you're talking.
No,
I
I'm so
noticed
sorry.
if I could get this out, I'm trying to get this out here real quick.
Yeah.
Come on out now. They actually reversed the image on the Blu-ray.
Oh, I never even noticed that. So now
Yeah.
oh yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, they reversed image from the original. I'm trying
Or
to
did
hold
they
it where the
reverse it
camera
on
is.
the original.
Yeah, so one of the two is reversed. So which one? Who knows? But yeah, there you go.
I've only seen these two.
You've only seen the first Fly and the remake Fly?
Yes.
See, now you shouldn't have watched them like that. You should have watched the originals, then watched the remakes.
Wait, how many Fly movies are there? I'm actually lost now. I thought
Five.
there were like
5.
oh shit. Okay.
I talked about the first 3 last week.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right. I
last
remember.
week,
That's
yeah.
why I was confused how many there are now because there's more now. I'm like, wait, what? So
And there's
No.
two of the 80s ones. Or
Okay.
whatever you want to call it.
If you can, Rook, if you can get your hands on the Shout, the Scream Factory box set, I would do that.
Before it goes out of print, yeah, I would.
Yeah, and it's still
Okay.
pretty.
It's been pretty affordable lately, yeah, because I know it's going out of print.
yeah,
No,
so
I
the
got
remake Fly,
mine
I
on
like
their October sale last year, so I was pretty lucky. I got their sale also for the Omen and the Critters
I
box
got a
set as
feeling
well.
we're gonna get the first film in 4K at some point, though.
that. How old were you guys
Yeah,
when you
it
guys
wouldn't
first
surprise
saw
me.
the Fly?
Before this?
No,
that's what he's talking about.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought you meant this one.
No.
And you
You
said
mean
the
before
Well,
this?
Because I hope to God we at least get the Cronenberg one on 4K. Because
a lot of Cronenberg and Mel Brooks movies have been scanned in 4K. That's the only reason I have a hunch. But it's also
Mhm.
Disney, so it's hard to say.
I know, but like
That's
if
true.
That's
something
the
were to get
beauty
a
of
4K
this. I
scan-
can't believe they pulled this off with this. Like we talked about it last night. Some of this may have already had to been in motion and signed off on before Disney was involved, because I don't think Disney would have signed off on this set.
Yeah, and because like
It
you
almost
said,
feels
came
like
out
that's part of the
2020.
problem. Yeah, it almost feels like maybe that's what happened. Is about halfway through they got shut down because they have some special features on some things, but like the older Flies, like outside of the first film or the second and third one, they did no new shit for the first film. Like it's the exact same release as the original Fox release.
It's
So
funny.
that makes it's kind of weird like that. Yeah.
It's funny you say that because I was expecting, the Shout Factory logo to show up in the beginning.
Yeah,
of
no.
this.
And
And
it
it's
needs
just
a new
the-
scan bad. So
and
does the
it's-
first Fly, yeah.
And it's just the 20th Century Fox like home entertainment logo that comes
It's
up.
because it's the same disc. They just have their label on it. Or whatever.
Correct.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying. I'm
But-
thinking like halfway through the mess, everything kind of fucking fell apart on it.
But when I put this in, it's the Shout Factory logo and not the Fox one.
Exactly. My point is I think they had already had work done on the two newer ones because those are the ones that have the bulk of the special features and everything.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They
And-
probably started with them and then was like, oh no.
And especially the Fly 3 with that scan looking like donkey shit.
The Curse.
Like I
of
almost
Fly?
didn't the original Flies, yeah.
Yeah.
And Fly 2 is okay, but the original Fly being that older scan, I mean, that scan is already from like way back in 2006, I think it was, or 2009 or something like that. So that's an old ass scan now. And it needs a new scan because it's, I can't remember if it's not Technicolor, it's CinemaScope or whatever. But it's
CinemaScope,
kind of, yeah, it kind of a little off. It's a little off. So they need to go back in and readjust it like they did with like the 10 Commandments and shit and other Technicolor movies, which are similar. Because it was a big movie for Fox. Like people don't realize,
The way they promoted it in the beginning of the movie, where it's like, oh, CinemaScope and Terror Color, it's like I could see why.
yeah, it was a big deal for Fox at the time they put this out. Because you got to remember, at the time they put this out, a lot of the horror movies were really chintzy B level shit. Like,
Mhm.
I mean, you're going to talk about one here in a little bit, Runner, that's from that same era. And you'll see how that was treated with a budget compared to this. This was Fox throwing a bunch of money at a horror film, and it paid off for them.
I mean, considering like watching this version of the movie, I'm like
it's quaint by today's standards, but that's an expensive production you got in your hands.
I know. That's exactly what I thought of when I'm watching this movie. I'm like, yeah, like quaint would be the word to say, like, if you're watching this today, but because I'm like, you know, I don't mean to brag about this, but like being a film student and like kind of knowing where this was released and stuff, and them promoting it as CinemaScope and, you know, using color and stuff, I'm like, fuck, this had to have been like a big deal in terms of how much they've spent.
And 4-channel surround sound on
yeah.
But like you can sort of tell with the quality and stuff how big of a deal the color was to this movie. So
yeah,
it's just sad that the sequel didn't get as much treatment the same way, and that's what Vincent Price said too. Because the Son of the Fly, or the Return of the Fly, is actually a really good sequel, and that carries over into the newer version that Greg and I watched. Because I will agree, it's a bit of an underrated sequel. Now, does it have some of the problems of a lot of the late 80s, early 90s sequels do? Yes. A lot of shit happens because plot needs it to happen.
Yeah. And they had a lot of cooks in trying to crack this script for the second one there.
But what you have here for the second film is Chris Walas, who worked on the first film and most notably worked on Gremlins. Right? He's the guy who designed and made the Gremlins. And he had the opportunity to come back for Gremlins 2, but instead he took The Fly 2 because he actually got to direct instead of just doing special effects. But yes, that's why another reason why the second film actually probably has better special effects.
It does, especially when they get to the Fly.
A lot of people say, yeah.
Now you're convincing me to watch The Fly too.
Oh yeah, you get the full-on Fly in the second film.
Oh yeah, it's like
there's no fucking around there.
Yeah.
I mean,
I like The Fly too. I mean, no, it's not in Cronenberg's leagues, but it is a fun watch and disturbing.
Okay, like before I get into the
Cronenberg, the kernels of the Return of the Fly and runs with it. Yeah.
Before I get to the Cronenberg Fly, I'll say this: I actually liked this movie a hell of a lot more than I thought I would.
Oh yeah, that first one, the original was great.
Like I would give this like a 4 out of 5. That's not the type of rating I expected it to be, but I actually liked it a hell of a lot more than I thought. Kind of like John Carpenter's The Thing. This is my favorite version of it, the Cronenberg one. Like, I watched it when I was in college and whatnot. And what got me to watch this movie was because I joined, or I'm a member of the Cult Cinema Club and the Horror Club in my school, and they like screen movies like this. There was a poll for, which movie should we screen, you know, the next week we have it, and I voted for The Fly because that was one of the options, the Cronenberg one.
Well, and that's because this movie takes the idea of the original film but puts a completely different context behind it.
Exactly.
The original film is, you know, yes, we have these certain the first film is more of an atomic message, like most of the 50s horror movies. It's like, yes, we have this great technology, but do we really know how to use it and understand it, and should we? Right? Like, that's kind of the first movie. It's a monster movie otherwise. The Fly, the 86 one, Cronenberg was actually talking about the AIDS epidemic. You could even interject the drug epidemic in there. There's a few things that you could really kind of attach to this, especially with the era that it came out and the body horror that, you know, Cronenberg was best at. Yeah. And that's why it works so well. It was like a marriage of two perfect ideas. And Mel Brooks didn't even want to make this movie to begin with. That's the fun part about it. Because he's like, who wants to see another Fly movie? He's like, I remember the original. It was kind of dumb.
And speaking of this movie, they didn't actually play this at the club. Like, they apparently more people voted for Killer Clowns from Outer Space. So we watched that
movie, but The Fly's better.
That's a good movie. But
it's a fun. It's an alright movie. The only part that like made me laugh out loud was when the clown like uppercutted the guy's head and it just flew off.
I can see women not wanting to watch The Fly though.
Yeah, but no, but I I laughed my ass off at that scene, and then like a few days later at my dorm, I watched Cronenberg's Fly.
That's the other message in The Fly that's kind of pertinent to now.
No, so I watched this version of The Fly. So I watched Cronenberg's The Fly like a few days later because I'm like, fuck, like I voted for that movie in the poll because I've been wanting to see it for a long ass time. But then I watched it at my dorm and I'm like, fuck, I wish I could see this with an actual audience because it's so fucking fantastic.
It's a good movie. I do want to.
It's right. It's up there. Like the practical effects though is. If you're saying The Fly 2, like enhances that and shit with the practical effects, that's crazy. Because
Fly 2 picks up 9 months after the first one.
No, because the fucking practical effects in this are fucking amazing. It's right up there with The Thing.
The second movie,
Carpenter's
the second movie has even better special effects.
Even better, and they do
out on that one. Yeah.
Oh my god!
And I do want to get this real quick, and then we'll get to talk more. It says from Doug, 1985, Virginia Loves Horror, $4.99 super chat says The Fly 2 is very disturbing. The special effects are too good. That's because
in fact, I will even say that
thank you.
The Fly 2 is better than Return of the Fly as far as sequels go.
You're probably not wrong there. Probably,
yeah, I mean, for Runner, the basic story is, they have the kid, and this company ends up taking the kid away, and it grows existentially. So, like, by the time he's 5, he's like an adult.
Mm-hmm.
Because, the short lifespan of a fly. Well, then,
exactly.
he first goes through, there's an event that happens that triggers things a little bit more. I'm not going to get into that because you got to see the movie. But then he goes through the same kind of motions his dad does, but only he goes through the full transformation, unlike his dad. Mm-hmm. He gets completely turned into the Fly this time. And it's early enough in the movie where you get a lot of Fly stuff. It's actually really good.
Oh, wow.
There's a really good scene.
The ending is kind of, there's 2 different endings too. That's the other thing.
But there is, isn't there? I was going to say there's a really great scene when he's a fly that kind of reminds me of Alien, when he's like stalking those guys in the hallway there.
Yeah.
And, that's a really great scene, and that's you get some really good practical effects with the way the fly is and how he's stalking like these security guards in this hallway at the building there. It's a great scene. Yeah, but I do
also builds off the idea that what his dad figured out about how to fix himself too.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah. And how to,
because that's the thing is he knows he's rapidly aging, so he wants to try and fix himself at the same time, right? So
Mm-hmm. But you do. Go ahead, Rook. I'm sorry.
I kind of like how in the first Fly they don't show too much of him as the transformed Fly. I like that it's kind of restricted in that. I don't know if it's because of the budget, but I kind of preferred that a little bit. Like gives you a taste of what it could sort of be, but it had the more mutated, effed up version, and just have that.
They do a similar
that in a way, but
it's
have you not seen the second one? I don't know, but you guys recommend it, so I'll check it out.
They do a similar thing in the first Fly, Rook. It's a little bit different in the Cronenberg one because it's Cronenberg. So
yeah, but like with the Fly 2, they do much like we talk about with Jaws, they do much like the Jaws thing. Like in the first movie, Steven Spielberg, he couldn't get the shark to work, so he did less is more. And so when you get the big reveal, so that's sort of like how they did with the Cronenberg one, because he slowly deteriorates into the Fly and everything. So in the second movie, you can't really sort of repeat that too much, so they just go all out with it, especially since you're getting a guy who does special effects like the Gremlins and everything. He was going to show off some of his skills, so it works for the second movie.
I was gonna say, I felt like they did more with this version compared to this, because it's like
it's because they would have more story in the Cronenbergs.
No, but I'm only telling this to Rook. So like when you watch this one, like the guy who's like doing the experiments and stuff, his like wife comes into the lab, and the story is it's a little bit different to the remake. So like in the original, it's like the scientist Andre is his name, and he sends his wife a note saying, like, giving out instructions of what to do. I can't talk, so, and all this type of stuff. So, and then like, was it Andre? He hides his hand in like his pocket, right? Because one of his hands is like a human hand, and then the other one is like a fly hand. And the wife freaks the fuck out when she realizes, oh shit, like he's half of what he is now is a fucking fly, and he has a like a tarp or whatever, or covering his head, because when he takes the tarp out or whatever, it's like, oh, he has a fly head for a head.
It'll be interesting watching that version because it'll have that very different tone of like the back then shock value.
Exactly. Because like I remember seeing a video of like John Carpenter like naming out like some of his favorite movies or like whatever, and he says like this was one of the movies that scared the shit out of him when it came out.
Yeah, he loved it. He loved those movies.
Yeah, I know he loved this version, and I'm like, it's kind of funny that he even said that, because I'm like, Cronenberg did the remake for this, but Carpenter did the remake of the Thing.
You're getting ahead of yourself.
Well, I know, but I can't think straight right now. But this movie, it's like the practical effects even for this movie look fucking good. Like I really like the use of how they did the fly effects of the head and the hand too. It
looks good.
Yeah. It looks good for this time specifically. Yeah. I mean, anyone could argue the effects in this, and I agree, like they're better. And I do like the use of practical effects in this. It's like, I'll be honest, what freaked me the fuck out when I saw this movie was when Jeff Goldblum was in the bar and he snapped the guy's arm.
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck? I remember like covering my mouth because I was just like, fuck. And I'm like, I don't often do that in horror movies, but that like,
I could show you some shit in horror movies.
Where do
you see Reanimator? If that scared you, where do you see Reanimator, man?
It's not that it scared me. Scared isn't the right word.
It
was the shock value by it, where you see the bone crush, and I'm just like, and to be fair, this is the only Cronenberg movie I've ever seen in my life. So,
he gets watch Videodrome.
I've been meaning to watch that, but like having seen this and having seen that bone snap, I was just like, what? I was like, holy shit. Like that looked really
like the worst thing in the movie, like when he pukes on that guy and he melts his way.
Honestly, that wasn't as bad as the bone snap. Like that was what stood out the most out of all the practical effects. The bone snap was what did it for me. I was like, holy shit. Like it looks so realistic.
I think the teeth kind of falling out and other things with that. I mean, that's the one thing that I like about the movie more than it leading up to him turning into the Monster Man was more the process of the slow change with it. It's like it's slowly affecting him. And I mean, the fact that it's all based on, this is pretty much genius guy built a teleporter, but he still has like basic primate desires. I want to mate with woman. Yes. That is part of the goal. I want to have some fun, and I want to build this thing. I want to be remembered, cool. And then just one little tiny thing happens, one unaccounted for thing, like completely f's it up. But it's seen as this is actually really great somehow, awesome superpowers, awesome. And then just the slow decay. Like that's the horrifying thing. It's like when he's like really decaying and getting more into it, and it's like, oh my god! Like just you're so aware. And
Cronenberg, a lot of people have said that this is like an allegory for the AIDS thing, with the disease that affects you, which you see that in there. But Cronenberg has also said it's actually more an allegory for when a man and a woman or couples get together, and one of them, as they age and deteriorate, and what happens to them in a relationship in that sense as well.
I can see that.
I can see that. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, do you still love me, baby? Is he still losing?
It's like you love to hear, even like with Alzheimer's or something as they get older. It was very much like you could like even like if somebody had AIDS as well too, and watching them like your loved one deteriorate from that type of disease and stuff, and that's what it was about as well. But I do like this from 6. It says Runner looks like he's aged 10 years now that he's a college man. And also like this
Really?
is what they almost
That's
refilmed the whole
surprising.
film with Michael J. Fox for more levity.
Oh,
Because
no,
Eric
thank
Stoltz
God
plays
they
the
didn't.
Fly in Fly Part 2. Eric Stoltz was originally supposed to be Marty McFly in Back to the Future. That was the
Great
joke for Fly
Scott.
2.
It's crazy. But no, I'd say another creepy aspect I assume women would feel is like when she imagines that she gives birth to this maggot baby thing.
Yeah.
Like that's pretty horrific.
Rook knows so much about women.
Well, it's kind of like the concept with Alien. Like that's the whole concept of like men can't get pregnant. But what if they could with this horrific thing that pretty much bleeps your mouth, and then makes it burst out of your stomach? Like that's not like that's a horrifying concept essentially. And I feel like some of that stuff is more effective sometimes than the creatures themselves that they show. And it depends on how they do the delivery, of course, which I think they did well with The Fly.
Yeah. But anything you want to talk about, Tom, about part 2 or 1 or anything?
Oh, just there's a ton of making of stuff that I didn't get to go through because you literally get like a 90-minute documentary on both of them, I think, in the making of just the old releases, and then all the new stuff they piled on top of it. I mean, again, it looks like Shout like definitely was trying to go out of their way for this release, but I can imagine somewhere down the line it didn't turn out as well as they were hoping because they clearly didn't get, new scans of these movies. The earlier Fly films didn't get a lot of special features outside of the new interviews on Return of the Fly and Curse of the Fly. But I can imagine they wanted to do something for the original Fly as well, but didn't get a chance to.
Yeah.
But no, overall, if you can get your hands on this set, I would before it's gone, because Lord knows the next time Disney's going to give any of these films attention.
Exactly.
That's why I had to get the Omen and the Fly sets at least.
Well, yeah, I need to
both...
The Omen one I'm curious about because they got a new Omen movie coming out this year, and the Omen does have a 4K scan.
Yeah, I was gonna say I heard the Omen set is going out of print from Shout, so
that makes me wonder if like
to get that one.
Yeah, see, that would be the first Omen, the whole Omen set would be a perfect one for Vinegar Syndrome, but I don't know how friendly they are with Disney. So
yeah.
Oh, I don't think so at all.
Knowing exactly, I don't think any of their releases in the last couple of years have been any box releases or anything like that. So mostly Paramount and MGM outside of smaller companies. So yeah.
And I still can't believe we got a Fly 2 and they still didn't call it the Son of the Fly. They still
well, in the 80s or 90s one I can understand, but like in the original one, it still just boggles my fucking brains. Yeah.
I mean, like even for the Fly 2, it's like father, like son. Why don't you just say the Son of the Fly? I mean, I know in the 80s, they were done with the whole monster stuff like that. They didn't want to do that, but
no. But I love how the Fly 2 ends with a very 50s kind of.
Yeah, like
1960s kind of horror sci-fi kind of ending to it. It even feels like very like Chris Wayless knew what he was doing. He was having fun.
It's I would almost say that the second one is darker in a sense.
It is in some ways.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not as it's a lot more fun though, unlike the first movie. That's the big difference. Like the first movie is one of those
very serious,
tough watches in some cases, but I mean, it has fun moments, but the second movie clearly is just having fun with itself. So,
it's and like where when I mean like it gets darker, I mean like with the guy what happens to him. I don't want to spoil too much. Like the guy, the main guy, the runs the business, and the dog, like a lot of people mentioned in the chat with the dog, and like you said with the ending and how they do it, and but it does also sort of have a happier ending as well at the same time. So, but like you said, it's very much those like 1950s and 60s style sci-fi endings where it's like, yeah, we'll give you this, but there's also this.
And that long drawn out like dun, 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 dun.
I love it.
Long fade out.
Yeah, it's great. But speaking of with all that, if Runner can be coherent here, since nothing else on the Fly, do you want to bring up your 50s set thing that you just watched that go along with one of your favorite movies? If you can be coherent here.
Yes. I watched this today. The original, The Thing, from Another World.
Space. From Another World. What is it?
Howard Hawks production. And did he direct this?
No, it's a production. Well, there's a rumor that maybe he possibly did because he was very hands-on. Howard Hawks was very hands-on.
I'm not saying that IMDb is like a reliable source, but it says Howard Hawks director, but in parentheses says uncredited.
Yeah, there's a rumor that he probably did. Much like Kurt Russell more than likely directed Tombstone.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Navy gets credit for it, but yeah.
Because in the beginning it says a Howard Hawks production and stuff, but this is the one from the Warner Archive.
Yeah, that's good. Great scan too.
Yeah, and I got this. I got this from a horror convention that I went to last year. So somebody was selling Blu-rays and DVDs of movies, and I was like, I'll buy that. I've been meaning to check that one out, and I did. I have the John Carpenter one, my favorite movie of all time, The Thing.
Hell yeah.
I got the 4K one, which is a fucking amazing scan. And then I have the Shout version, which I bought this version because it has the special features. And I only checked out like one of the special features, and it was one where John Carpenter was being interviewed and stuff. I hope to check them out later, but the rest of them. But yeah, like I'm very happy to get this because even though I'm very disappointed at Best Buy, they did have a few of these on their shelf. So I'm like, fuck, I'll get that because of the special features. Because the Universal the Universal 4K does not have barely any of those, or most of those. Because like the Shout version has a ton. Like because it's a separate disc. Because the one in this is the Shout one is a 2K scan of the inner positive.
Yeah.
Supervised by Dean Cundy.
Yeah.
But I'm assuming the Universal 4K release is the negative, right?
Yeah, I believe so. I'm not really sure, but I believe so because it looks really damn good.
No, it's probably
negative.
It is honestly one of the best scans I've ever seen.
It's really, really good. It looks great. It's just a shame we didn't have a lot of the special features like the Shout had. So if you got your Shout Blu-ray, keep on to that one.
Yeah, I was gonna say because fuck. Oh God. Okay, there's another one for.
I'm kind of pissed. I never got the steel book for that one actually. But yeah.
Oh, there was a steel book for the 4K?
No, there was.
I didn't know that.
You didn't know that?
No, I didn't.
No, that steel book. No, that steel book sold out fast.
Dang.
That probably sold out faster than the Oppenheimer steel book.
Yeah, it was a Best Buy exclusive, and it went pretty quick. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I tried to get it.
I was gonna say like it probably went quicker than the Oppenheimer one.
Yeah.
But
it was just the Universal release, but yeah.
But no, because when I was done watching the 4K version of this, like you know how Universal does this whole thing where it's like it'll bring you to the special features right away. It has a few of those, but
yeah, it does have the old, what was it, hour-long documentary from the Laserdisc and a couple things on there, I believe, or am I thinking of the Shout Factory one? I'm pretty sure I thought it was.
No, it has some special features in it.
It just doesn't have any of the newer Shout stuff on there and stuff.
No,
like
it doesn't have any of the shit that's in this. That's the thing. Like you gotta hold on to this.
Yeah,
that's the only thing.
It's basically the updated version, if my memory serves, of the old Universal Collector's edition with the gold band top. All that stuff's carried over to the 4K edition, but none of the Shout Factory stuff, basically.
Yeah.
So it has like the hour-long documentary, a couple deleted scenes. I can't remember a couple other things that were on there, but yeah, it's been a while since I've dug through it.
Yeah. It's great, and I always, it's going back to the original thing. I always find it funny that Marshall Dillon is the Thing. So for anybody who's watched Gunsmoke, Marshall Dillon is the Thing. Yeah, James.
I never really realized that. Yeah, I guess I've only seen the original Thing once. But
yeah, It's like it blew my mind when I was watching it again, and I was like, "Oh!" And it says James Arness. I'm like, "Why do I know James Arness?" And I'm like, "Holy shit, that's Marshall Dillon from Gunsmoke." So it does surprise you.
It's just weird when I watch the original thing. It's like you see it as this like Frankenstein creature type thing, that's on this cover, and I'm like, that's not in the Carpenter version, but the one thing that is accurate is all the snow dogs and stuff.
Well, you had to do like
there's actually quite a bit, but that was the thing, is that Carpenter was able to do more closer to the book.
Yeah,
for the short story.
And like
you gotta remember, at the time in the 50s, that was what all they were doing, was those weird zombie like monster aliens, basically.
Yeah.
But like I'll say, like, for the 50s version, it's like I don't love it.
Lucky Victor.
Yeah, he got the steelbook.
Oh, you son of a bitch. The steelbook's pretty fucking cool, but at the same time, it's like the slipcover has the original poster in it, so
yeah. But I mean, like, even like when you look back at the original thing, like even like when they're standing in a circle around the ship, that's like almost the exact same image they use when they're watching it on the TV back in John Carpenter's thing. So John Carpenter really did a great job of like blending it together, but also making it more closer to the book. And
no, even like
pure fear and terror and isolation.
Even like the tunnels and shit, the tunnels that's like made out of wood and stuff.
Yeah,
in the original, like they did such a good job in like the remake of like replicating them.
Well, you can tell that Carpenter was a huge fan of the original. I mean, first of all, he's used it in, I think, at least one of his films, if not more than one. I know it's in Halloween, but I swear it's in another one too, because that's his actual video copy of it. He had a video copy of it made way back when, before it even had a video.
Yeah.
No, because
he was such a big fan of that movie.
Yeah.
No, because in the
They Live or something for some reason.
The interview I watched, I forget the guy who interviewed him. He had like white hair and it was long and stuff. I don't know his name, but
John Carpenter.
No, not John Carpenter.
You're thinking of the guy who actually was one of those screenwriters on The Fly too.
No, the guy who
postmortem. He just finished it. What is his name, Tom?
The guy who interviewed him.
Greg. I know. That's what I'm talking about. He did the original The Stand. He wrote Hocus Pocus. He was part of The Fly too. Oh my God, what is his name? Hold on, I got the Fly 2 Blu-ray right here. I can just look right on the back because he's interviewed. Where's it at? Oh, come on. I saw his name here. Mick Garris. I know who you're talking about. He's got long white hair, and he's Mick Garris. That's who it is. Go on, runner.
No, so in that interview between those two, like the guy who interviewed him, Mick Garris, if that's his name.
I'm pretty sure that's who it is.
He basically asked him, because how in the Halloween movie, like the original, they play that version of The Thing.
Mm-hmm.
He basically asked him, like, was that intentional? Did you know if you were gonna make that like your version of The Thing and all that? And he's like, no, I didn't know at all. The reason I put that in is just because I just looked over my VHSs or whatever that I had, and he's like, that's just the one I put in, The Thing.
That's cool.
And that's what Carpenter said. That's how that version or that movie was made a brief cameo in it, because it's so weird, because it's like the first Carpenter film I saw was Halloween, the original one, obviously. Mm-hmm. And when I saw like that making an appearance in it, I'm like, did he put that in there because he was gonna make like The Thing? And
no, it's just that was literally one of his favorite movies.
No, I know. I learned that later on, but I thought at first like he put that in there because it was like a teaser to what he was gonna make later on. But then, because was it like the second movie I watched of his was Big Trouble, and then the third one I saw was The Thing. So that's why I sort of thought that, and then I sort of heard like, oh, it was a remake, and he was a big fan of the original, so that's sort of why.
Yeah. How many you got left, Runner?
I have one more.
You have one more. Okay.
One more.
I have one more. You have one more. Rook has one more. Tom, do you want to do one yours and then?
Yeah, I can do one separately from the others. I'm just trying to figure out which order to do
Okay.
here.
I have one more, but before you guys go to the next person, one more thing I have to say is if I can find the right version of these. Fuck. We talked about
still in your bong.
We talked about The Fly earlier, right? The
original. No, that was like 2 days ago.
Don't fuck with me, Greg. The original Thing.
Yeah.
These are the original versions of the ones that people know and stuff. You have Thing, The Fly, Cronenberg, Carpenter. Like, this is how you do remakes.
Yes.
This is how you fucking do remakes. It's like, having watched the original Fly and the original Thing, it's like, you can see Carpenter and Cronenberg taking elements of the originals, right? But they sort of make it their own. And they sort of respect it while trying to make them different in its respect to the original. That's what a lot of remakes get wrong.
True. I agree with you on that.
And what is it? Like I saw the 80s version of The Blob. I haven't seen the original, and I haven't seen the original Invasion of the Body Snatchers, but I know a lot of people love those. I've seen the 70s version of.
Technically, there's the original 70s version, the original like 50s, 60s version of Invasion of Body Snatchers, the 70s version, and even the 90s version are all considered really good, with the 70s one being the better of the three. But them three are actually considered to be really good, all three.
Yeah, and I've only seen the 70s version, but they're doing another Blob movie or whatever.
Yeah,
but
I'm not really looking forward to
that one. I don't give a,
especially in today's day and age.
I don't give a flying fuck for. It's like, and it's weird because it's like it's a Warner Brothers movie apparently.
Yeah.
Because the remake wasn't Warner Brothers, it was TriStar / Sony. So I don't even know.
Well, who knows?
Who owns the rights?
Yeah, whoever the fuck owns the rights to that. But yeah, no, I'm not excited for that.
Yeah. All right. So let's see. We all have one left. Tom, do you want to slip yours in before you do the last one, or do you want us to go around? Yeah.
How about I do it like this? This is one that I think we can probably talk about pretty quick, since I think some of us have seen it, some of us haven't. But I checked out the disc version of Equalizer, which I have the steelbook here. And actually, this is a steelbook I'm not too happy with because it took me forever to find it. Because as you can see, it's very hard to read on the side. But the movie itself is very good. Excellent movie. Great end of the series if this where it ends. If not, I'm ready for more. But I like this one because it's a bit more self-contained than the first two. I mean, it has its little tip-offs to the original films, but it's not. You could see this without seeing the other movies, kind of. I don't think like you have to. I feel like that you can enjoy this quite a bit, and it's a great third film in the series. A little bit more self-contained, like I said, in the sense of the setting and what it's about. This is much more of a Western than the first two films are. And it kind of takes the element of, instead of it being more, it has some episodic elements to it like the first film, but it's all self-contained in the same area like the second film, as far as like the story, like, because that was the thing I didn't like care for in the second film. I kind of like the episodic nature of the first film and how it all kind of tied together. This movie kind of has that going for it a little bit, but it's also its own thing at the same time. And of course, you get a great performance out of Dakota Fanning as well, who, of course, we all know worked with Denzel in the past. But yeah, no, it was one of the surprises last year. Reunion, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I know at least Runner has seen this anyway.
Yeah,
I saw it. I saw it in the theater opening night, and I already kind of told Tom and everyone else my thoughts. But if you haven't seen my thoughts on it on the show, I saw it opening night, and I was kind of disappointed by it. And I've only seen it once. So before anyone gives me shit, I need to rewatch it.
Oh no, I enjoy this more than the second one.
I know.
I love that it's under 2 hours long. It's only an hour and 45. It feels like such a classic action film.
No, okay.
Night, Brian Barth. Thanks for hanging with us.
Good night, Bryant. Basically, my thoughts on this movie are, I liked the very beginning, with the whole 9 seconds thing, and he kicks everyone's ass, and then I like the third act where it's sort of like a Michael Myers, Robert McCall as Michael Myers type thing. I'm like, fuck, like I wish more of the movie was like that.
Well, the first movie was like that too, but people just didn't bring that up. Like that whole scene.
No, the first movie is fucking fantastic.
Well, no, but I mean, like that whole scene in the fucking Home Depot place.
Yes,
like that's straight out of a goddamn horror movie. That's why it's like people didn't point that out before.
No, I agree. Like that's why I love the first movie so much. Like the first movie is my favorite.
And you get that again with this movie, and that's another thing I like is you have that rampage at the end. Yeah.
To me, you only get that in the very end, like the third act of the movie.
And that's fine.
I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but it's like.
Well, and again, I want to hear you after you see it again, because, like, I mean, the big basis and the reason why I find this movie very satisfactory is because it does for our character what a lot of third films and especially films in modern age don't do anymore, and that is set your character up where he belongs and gives him an arc. And then, like I said, this leaves you in a place where if this is the end, that's great. I'm fine with that because it's not him riding off in the sunset like in a Western, but it has a Western ending to it. It is a very Western story. And I don't remember if you're familiar too much with it, Greg, but it starts out like Runner was saying, he's in Italy. He's on a mission of his own, like he always is. We don't specifically know what for, but he gets himself wrapped up in this drug cartel house. And on his way out of the job, he gets shot by a kid. He gets picked up by a cop, an Italian cop, obviously, because it's in Italy. Where he's almost dead. And so the cop takes him to a doctor, and the doctor asks him, "Are you a good man or a bad man?" And he goes, "I don't know." So
this sounds like Rio Bravo or
very much Western. So like afterward, so why did you help me? Because he goes, "You asked me when I first came here if I was a good man or a bad man." He goes, "You said I don't know." And he goes, "Yeah." He goes, "A good man, that's what a good man would say." So like there's that aspect to it, and then he starts falling in love with the little like village area that he's staying in, the villa area that he's staying in. So that's kind of the whole setup is like, and that's one of the things is like, so there's of course this little gang that's starting shit in town, and they're doing their thing, collecting, from all the store. It's just like a Western, like I said. And so they're like the bandits coming in and fucking with people. And he says, I like this place. I like the people. I very much want to stay here. Get the fuck out.
It does. That sounds, especially like being in Italy, like a cheesy spaghetti Western. Well, not cheesy.
Yeah, it's very much a lot of that. And that's what I relished about it. I'm like, oh God, yes, this is a classic throwback Clint Eastwood spaghetti Western, down and dirty, gritty.
Yeah.
But it's a beautiful film at the same time because they really use the vistas and the area that it was shot in real well. My only thing was, as I was curious if Denzel had gotten sick or maybe possibly had a slight stroke or something between films, because the opening of this movie almost feels like it's giving him an excuse to have limited mobility throughout the film. And maybe that's
why I was
Runner's issue is. And I can understand that, but it works its way into the story. And at his age, and considering the age of the character, I didn't have as much of a problem. And the other thing is with the Dakota Fanning character, because there's a lot of points they really could have heavy-handedly set it up that she was going to continue doing what Robert was doing, but doing it herself, and then she'll be the Equalizer forever. Like,
yeah.
No, they don't. There's a little like moment where you could kind of like, okay, she could go that route, but you don't know. You know, it doesn't shove it in your fucking face or anything like that.
Hey, I didn't feel that. Okay, so like my disappointments were, again, I need to rewatch it, full disclaimer, and I wasn't a huge fan of the Western type thing, and when I watched it opening night, I almost fell asleep twice.
Well, I don't know to tell you, but
I know. Some people no, because like when I got out of the movie and I heard other people like love this movie, I'm like, what the fuck did you all watch?
I'm gonna be honest, and I don't mean to bring it up again, and I don't want to harp on it too long. Sounds like John Wick could have benefited from doing something like this. Just saying.
See, okay, like
they needed to scale it back to like that first movie of John Wick, because that's what it sounds like. The way Tom explains the Equalizers, which makes me, because I haven't yet to see him, but the way he explains like 1 and 3, it sounds like they did 3 like they should have did John Wick, going back to the 1 of Equalizer.
See, but like, okay, like I don't want to compare John Wick to Equalizer because they're two different animals in terms of action movies and action franchises. I think what disappointed me about Equalizer 3 was I was expecting it to be this type of movie, but I got this instead.
That sounds like a you problem.
Yeah,
I know. That's what I'm thinking.
The first John Wick movie was supposed to be like a Clint Eastwood. They were literally going to cast like Clint Eastwood as John Wick. But when Keanu came in and read, they were like, this is the guy. And it's very much a Western sort of action flick, the first John Wick. And that's where they needed to go back to by the 4th movie, in my opinion.
No, but
it sounds like they worked with the Equalizer, because now I really want to see this 3rd movie.
Oh, I think you're going to dig it, Greg.
Yeah, in fact, you probably.
I don't know if I wouldn't say I like it better than the first one, but it's definitely on par. It's probably one of the best 3rd films you're ever going to get out of a trilogy. And I've heard a lot of people say, like even Andre said it's even Andre's favorite movie of last year.
When I heard him say that, I was like, what?
I was kind of surprised too. I knew he liked it, but I didn't think he liked it that fucking much. And he's already seen Napoleon, and he's seen, a bunch of the only one he hadn't seen yet was Godzilla -1. So that's the only thing I could see him. But he's not even really that
fantastic.
But he's not even that big of like a Godzilla type fan to where he might even be like, yeah, it was good, but Equalizer 3, no, that was for me. See, I can see Andre saying that.
Yeah. No, but I remember in a live stream he said it was like a perfect movie, and I'm like,
what? I watched it again. This is my 2nd time I saw it. I gotta admit, it still holds up on a second watch. In fact, I mean, sure, is there some bits in it that are a little cheesy-ish? Maybe with the it is very obvious with the setup with the gang of the motorcycle gang kids. And like I was even thinking this time watching, like, boy, they don't stick out like a sore thumb or anything like that. But yeah, but the whole idea that they have the whole town bought out, and you've got the one cop character and his little arc in there, and the doctor's little arc in there, and all the characters that have the store owner's little arc, the girl from the cafe. I love all the characters. Dakota Fanning was used perfectly and brilliantly, and she's not a perfect Mary Sue character. Like, she's used in a way that makes sense.
I thought she was okay.
No, go ahead. I'm curious.
No, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I thought you were going to stop, but
no, that's pretty much it.
Again, this is first viewing. I need to rewatch it, but I only thought that she was there, and again, I almost fell asleep twice during this fucking movie.
Don't watch movies when you're so tired.
Yeah, I really don't know how.
I was probably just really fucking tired, and I didn't get enough sleep, and I was excited to watch this movie, but I felt like she was just there just for a fucking reunion, and that's it. Like a man.
No, her character makes sense.
Maybe it does when I rewatch it. That's what I'm saying. To say.
Could you take her character out probably and it not really make much of a difference? Yeah. I'm not going to lie about that.
Because I mean,
her actions and their little storyline doesn't really play too much into the main story until the very, very end, really, kind of, sort of. And at the same time, I just kind of saw it as, Robert's just kind of reaching back out to have some sort of connection to his people, so they know he's still out there and alive or whatever, and at the same time he's cleaning up this mess and doing other things. So it's like it plays into the film, and again, that's where I kind of felt like, is she really just here just in case they want to spin her off into her own thing? Maybe, but they're not as obvious with it as a lot of other things usually are, is what I felt.
Yeah, they didn't overtly beat it every head, like you said.
No, and like she is spattered throughout the film, and she does not disrupt or get involved in Robert's story at all, really, outside of like she's following him, right? And so like she doesn't really affect him. That's the only part I felt like they should have had something where she kind of helped him in some way. That's where I felt like that was where they missed an opportunity. She does help him, but not in the grand scheme of the main plot, if that makes sense. You have to see the movie, you get it. It's like, okay, so she does help him at the end, but it doesn't play into a way that, like I said, you could have deleted her from the story and it wouldn't have mattered.
See,
so I will give you that.
See, like, I feel like the third Equalizer movie is one of those movies where, like, if you hadn't seen the first two, you'd be fine just watching the third one as its own thing. Maybe I probably just had
yes and no. There's a little bit like, and that's where I don't want to give it away with her character, and that's why I say there is something there for her character, and it is one of the tie-ins to the past, and that gives you an answer as to why, other than him just wanting to have somebody to talk to.
Because I loved the first movie specifically.
Yeah, me too.
Like I thought the first movie was fucking awesome. Like I'll rewatch that one anytime. But maybe,
and it also gives Denzel a reason to be kind of a fatherly figure, like he always does in these kind of movies.
Yeah, but like I felt like, you know, him like just getting shot in the back by that kid, and
that's a Western thing.
It is, because that's why
I get it.
John Wayne gets shot.
That's why I said you never turn your back on a fucking kid.
And then he shoots you know, that's like when you said that is like that straight up reminded me.
Gene Wilder told you that. Yeah. Bastard shot me in the ass.
No, I just remember
I went to the nearest saloon and I crawled into the nearest bottle. I've been there.
Maybe I just didn't. Maybe I just looked at it. I probably just looked at it the wrong way.
That's honestly. To me, it's all, is it chock full of cliches? Fuck yes. But that's what I love about it. Right? It's the same reason like Greg was saying about John Wick. That's why I love John Wick 1 specifically, is it is the cliched Western, but it's in the modern tale. It's a new spin on it, right?
Yeah.
And it's the same kind of thing here. It's like The Equalizer is already a remake of an old TV show. Mm-hmm. Denzel has already given him and Antoine Fuqua, I've already given it their own new modern spin. And it's one of the rare ones that people are like, yeah, I kind of dig it. Even fans of the original show, I've even heard say, yeah, it's not too bad, you know, or whatever. Even though it's a far cry from what the original show was, right? Like, it's even more off the reservation than what fucking Mission Impossible was compared to the original show. Right?
Yeah. Maybe I just wasn't a fan of the whole Western take of it, but I need to rewatch it again. Maybe
I think that was more of your expectations going in, because everybody else I've ever talked to enjoyed the movie a hell of a lot more.
No, it was definitely my expectations going in, because it's like last year I remember hearing, was it John Wick 4 was coming out, Mission Impossible, a new Mission Impossible, and then an Equalizer movie. I'm like, fuck, these are three actors I really enjoy: Keanu, Tom Cruise, Denzel Washington. I'm like, this is going to be a fucking amazing year for action movies. I love John Wick 4. I don't give a fuck what Greg says.
Or me.
That's the one I can't believe people
hate John Wick 4.
Okay, I know why you didn't love John Wick 4 as much, but Mission Impossible, I enjoyed Dead Reckoning. And then I went into this being like, fuck, like, if I could get another badass action movie like that, like, that'd be great. And I know a lot of people love Equalizer 3, but I went in kind of with higher expectations than I thought. And I expected it to be something completely different, but I was like, what am I watching? Because I also felt like he sat down too much drinking tea as well. Like, that was another thing that was like, I felt like that went on too long. And then you get to the third act where, like, he's this Michael Myers type thing, and he does a little bit of, you know, killing and shit in the middle of the movie, which was cool enough. And then you get to the horror aspect of it in the third act. I'm like, fuck, like, I wish I got that. I wish this movie was a straight up horror movie, like the third one.
See, now you sound like me when I was a kid, and I'm like, there wasn't enough gremlins in it.
No,
like if I saw someone, I was expecting it to be like this thing, and it's just like,
I wasn't going to say that because I felt like a really old man thinking not everything needs to be an action scene every 10 seconds.
No, that's
when I was a kid,
some of my favorite scenes in McCall's are when he's just kind of doing his OCD thing and he's interacting with the people. And like I said, that's a big part of the plot is he starts to feel like he's, because every other movie we've seen him, well, more so the first one than the second one, because the second one's kind of more of a Mission Impossible movie almost. But the first one is like, he doesn't quite fit in no matter where he's at, right? Like in this movie, that's the whole point is he starts to feel like he's found his new home and this shit starts happening to him, right? Like, and that's what around him. And that's what he hates is like, he can't just sit back and let it happen because that's his instinct, his normal. But also he's afraid that if it goes too far, he's not going to be able to stay here. Right. And that's what the thing is he's getting to that point where he's ready to retire. And that's the whole point with the kid too, right? Is he kind of lost his edge. And it's just because it's not that he didn't shoot the kid. It's that he didn't watch the kid go back in the car or tell the kid to drop the gun or something like that. There's something he missed to do that he should have done. And that's how meticulous he is, right? And it's because he let his guard down for 2 seconds. So he's sitting there weighing this thing in his head. Is like, okay, am I getting too soft for this also at the same time? I almost shot this kid and then he turned around and shot me. So what's going, you as the audience are going, well, what is going through his mind when he's going through all this stuff? But then you finally realize that this is what he wants. He wants to be here. He just wants to retire. He just wants to, live his life where nobody is going to judge him on any other basis than he's just this old man. And that's kind of the whole funny joke about the scene where he comes in and the lady goes here and she gives him it was either a cappuccino or whatever the fuck it was. And she goes, only old men and Englishmen drink tea, or old ladies and Englishmen drink tea. And he just kind of is like, and that's just kind of a moment where it breaks his bubble. Right. And then you also have the other poignant moments, which I don't want to spoil because Greg and Rook haven't seen it yet. Yeah. You kind of lead up at the end, and that very last bit it's all there. To me, it's a very brilliantly well done film. It won't get the attention it deserves. It's probably one of the best third films we've ever gotten in a series. And I'm disappointed that you didn't like it, Greg, Runner, but I'm sure you will. I know Greg will. I'm sure you will on a second viewing, but
I need to rewatch it. Like I said, I think I was my head was a little, what do you call it? I was a little over my head in terms of what I wanted from it. Like I said, like the fact that the kid shot his back and shit kind of like threw me off. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like that kind of threw me off at first. And then I watched most of the movie and I thought in my head, again, I was a little over in my head and I'm like, did they write the movie this way just to give an excuse that Denzel can't do most of this shit anymore and he's aging up and all that? So really, there was kind of like a depressing side to it from my point of view, but I need to rewatch it again. Maybe I just...
Yeah, that's in the back of your mind when you're watching it.
Yeah, but no, that's where I was.
You take his age factor and the fact that he's just ready to slow down anyway in general.
Because the fact like the third act where he's like everything's like the lights are out and everything's dark and he's like silently killing people and shit, and I'm like,
which is just like the end of the first movie. Yeah
exactly. I loved that. I was like, I remember being
in the first movie's the same way, dude. Watch it right up against the first movie. There's not as much action in the middle portion as you remember.
No, I agree.
Feels that way. It just feels that way because he's dealing with so many different things in that first movie, as opposed to this one where it's a bit more focused. It's focused like the second film, but it's not a Mission Impossible movie like the second film. That's what I disliked about the second film.
No, I agree. The second one has problems in its own too, but like the first one, I feel like just had a better execution in the middle of it compared to the third one, but that's just me though, because
I think maybe you were too tired, dude. And I mean, you could be.
No.
I didn't have any issues with this one. The pacing, I think, is perfect considering it's only an hour and 45 minutes. Yeah.
See, I respect the runtime. That's its own thing, but I think you're right, Tom. I think I was too tired. I'll even admit that. I think
give it another shot.
No, because what is it like? It was like the second day because I remember. I think I watched Equalizer 2.
I did not expect to talk about this long.
I know. It was on so it was on a Thursday night, obviously. because that's like opening night.
Right.
And I watched Oppenheimer for the third time because I wanted to see it in 70 millimeter. And then I
don't know how you can watch Oppenheimer and then watch this and say this is boring. See, I mean, I love Oppenheimer. Don't get me wrong.
In an action movie,
I'm a Nolan guy, so that's probably why compared to you.
I loved Oppenheimer. Don't get me wrong, but I'm just like, well, that's one of the few Nolan movies where it was like, okay, it did okay with the 3-hour pacing, I guess. But this movie was perfect pacing.
Yeah, but Oppenheimer to me gets better every watch I got. So that's probably why. But again, like I was gonna say, I probably didn't get much sleep the next day. And I was probably really fucking tired. And I was wanting to see Equalizer 3. So I went to the theater and stuff. And I have a few theaters, nearby in downtown Chicago and stuff. And I was just like, all right, Equalizer 3, let's go. I want to watch this. And I went out kind of disappointed and all that for what it was. And then I heard other people talk about it saying they loved it. And I'm like, fuck, like I'm like, what? Like, I think this is a me problem. Like I hate to say that, but
watch it. Let's go. Any final words there, Tom, before we go on? Okay.
No, I just recommend it, and I know you'll like it, Greg.
So. Yeah, I think I will.
No, good. like hearing Tom talk about it, you'll probably like it. I need to rewatch it.
And there is a trilogy 4K box set out there that's affordable for anybody who's on a budget too. So keep that in mind. If you don't have the first two,
isn't it like 60, 70 bucks though?
I don't know. I've seen it for cheaper than that. But you catch it on sale is my point. I mean, but if you don't have the first two in 4K was my point.
So, yeah.
I have the first two on Blu-ray.
All right. Well, Rook, do you want to go ahead and show your last pick, and then we'll get to me, and then we'll get to Tom. And I think
mine will be extremely quick. So I watched How to Train Your Dragon, and I'm going to buy it now because I liked it. I wasn't sure if I was going to like that one, so I streamed that. I'm probably going to get the 3-pack because I know there's like 3 of them. I thought it was okay. I mean, it's not like one of their best ones ever, but it's okay. There's Vikings. There's dragons that are basically rodents, and they just kill the dragons because dragons come try to take their livestock and stuff. But there's a little scrawny kid. He doesn't want to kill any of them, but he wants to prove himself first. He makes a little contraption, captures the night terror they've never seen before, injures it, has a chance to kill it, doesn't, lets it go. It doesn't kill him. It's caught in a little thing. It can't fly. He helps save it. And learns a lot of things about dragons with it, goes to dragon training and is able to take on a lot of the dragons in a more, less violent way. And then eventually there's a huge dragon they discovered that the dragons were feeding because that is going to kill them otherwise. They team up later and they destroy the dragon, and then they're friends with the dragon. It's nice. I recommend it. Don't know much to say about it. So.
Okay.
Next. So you wait a minute. I'm sorry. So
he pulled a runner.
You don't. No, he didn't pull a runner because I at least show the fucking physical fucking version of it. You don't have the physical version.
Well, Black Angus reviews and
what movie was it?
How to Train Your Dragon.
Oh.
Oh.
Well, did you get a dragon train?
We pick movies sometimes, and he'll pick ones that I don't have all the time. So that we watched. And
I've only seen the first 2, and that's it. I know they're gonna make a live action one.
First one's okay. If they make a live action, they'll be interesting, maybe, but it depends who does it, how it's done. It's not one of the best of the cartoonish ones, but it's fine. It's okay. It's a passable one.
The only the guy who plays the dad?
Yeah, Gerard Butler.
Gerard Butler, Hiccup's dad. They got Gerard Butler to play the live action version of that character.
I mean, maybe
of a recent announcement, but every other casting is like a different actor, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. Because I don't care if they make a live action one, to be honest. They'd have to do a Game of Thrones type of budget, I think, if they want to make it good.
I don't care either, but that's what DreamWorks is doing.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess we'll move on.
If you're gonna do a live action How to Train Your Dragon, why not do a live action Shrek? I'd be more interested in that.
I just say, just don't make him live action.
I agree. I was just joking.
Yeah, I know.
I'm just saying, like a live action Shrek would be interesting just for the memes, but
right.
As long as you get Mike Myers and Eddie Murphy to voice in their respected roles, that'd be fine.
Okay, so I did buy the Beverly Hills Cop trilogy to watch at some point here. So I will let you. That'll be one of my picks one of these weeks. I don't know when. So
Joey, that was Dragonheart. To answer your question about Sean Connery as Dragon.
All right, well, I guess I'll go to my final pick of the night. This movie I actually have brought on before, but it was a few years ago. But over Christmas, I got the 4K Steelbook version of it. The one I brought on was a Blu-ray. It was like 3 years ago. Speaking of an aging action hero, I have this: The Man Who Killed Schittler and the Bigfoot. So
that is a hell of a title.
Yes, this is a 4K Steelbook. I brought on the movie, I think, like I said, 2 or 3 years ago. I've always really liked this movie. I know some people don't. This is a movie that is a love it or hate it type movie. And I love it because I got the movie. I don't think some people got the movie because I'll be honest with you. RLJE Films.
Oh, okay. I know that company. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a few of I have like 2 of their 4K Steelbooks.
Yeah, this is 4K Steelbook. I just got it for Christmas because I like this movie. The name is a bit of a getcha because you hear that name and you think, oh, this movie is going to be fun. The movie, yes, everything it says in the title happens. It happens in the movie, but the movie is not technically about what the title says it's about. I think it's a great movie because the thing is, everybody in this movie takes it seriously because there's 2 ways you could have played this movie. One, you could have played it cheesy, campy, over the top, and like, haha, it was funny with the man who killed, and killed the Bigfoot. Or you could have played it serious, and everybody plays it serious. Stars Sam Elliott, Aidan Turner, Kathleen Fitzgerald, Larry Miller, and Rob Livingston. Sam Elliott is the aging hero. He's like this legendary, like badass war, soldier. But the whole movie essentially is they come to him and tell him that Bigfoot is real. He's up in the Canadian wilderness. They're burning forests to contain him. He has this plague within him. And if he gets past the Canadian border, this plague will spread and kill everybody. And they need the man who killed Schittler, whatever you want to say. I don't want to get in trouble here. And so they go to him and tell him about it. And at first he doesn't want to do it, but then he decides to do it. And essentially from then on, the movie is basically this man looking back on his life in World War II, and what he gave up, the love he gave up, because it's very much a love story set against an action movie because Aidan Turner plays the young Sam Elliott. And luckily they don't have him talk much because there was no way this guy was going to mimic Sam Elliott at all. He hardly looks like him, but they do a good enough job of it. So basically he's like flashing back to his time in World War II and what he had to do to get to the point to kill him and what he went through and how he gave up this woman and how he still like longs for this woman, but she's passed on now that he's an old man. He never got his chance with her. So it's like really that, and everybody plays this very serious. And then he goes to, he does go to Canada and he does fight the Bigfoot. And I would say probably the weakest part of the movie is the Bigfoot costume. It's not a very good costume. You could tell they spent more money on everything else than the thing, but he does have the fight with the Bigfoot. And yes, he does kill the Bigfoot. That's not a spoiler. It's literally in the name of the title. But the movie is more about, life and loss and Sam Elliott is badass in this movie. He does kick ass, much like Denzel Washington. He beats up tons of people. Like, you know, he still got it himself. This is a really good movie. And like I said, this is a love it or hate it type movie, because some people, they read the title and they're like, oh, this is going to be fun. And I think they do expect the cheesy, campy, like, oh, he's going to kill Bigfoot, and then, you know, it's funny. And when you get it, it's actually a very serious drama action type flick with a little bit of absurd premise near the end with the Bigfoot. So if you can handle that, because everybody in this movie knows what this movie is, they take their role serious and they play it straight all the way through. And I think that's what really sells it for me. But yeah, the 4K looks good. I still don't think this quite has HDR, if I remember. So it's one of those ones that don't quite have HDR, but it looks good. 4K is good. The Blu-ray, you know, if you like this type of movie, I do recommend it. But like I said, it is a bit of a love it or hate it type movie, and the title can be a bit you know, tricking for some people. But everything that the title says does happen in the movie. It does happen in the movie.
When you said it was called Schindler, I honestly thought that's what the title
was. No. I didn't want to say.
Knowing you, I actually did. I wasn't sure. I was like, oh, that's one of those weird movies that he watches sometimes.
No. I don't want to say, because you never know. Sometimes you can say it, sometimes you can't. It depends.
Well, Greg watches weird.
But just movies, you said it so straight. I was just like, oh, it's the movie called Schindler. Gotcha. That's what that is. Yep. Interesting.
Yeah, the Blu-ray, like, if you guys don't want the 4K, the Blu-ray is pretty cheap, and I do believe the Steelbook is, I'm not sure if this was one of the ones that sold out, but I think the Steelbook is like $20 on Amazon in the US, I think.
Most of the Steelbooks that company releases are like exclusively like, this is how you get the 4K version.
Yeah, because they did Bone Tomahawk, they did the Nicolas Cage Color Out of Space 4K Steelbooks.
They also did the other Nicolas Cage movie, Prisoners of the Ghostland, which I have. And I have the David Ayer movie, The Tax Collector.
I've never seen
4K.
that one.
That's a good one.
I've never seen it.
That's a good one.
Yeah, okay.
I actually like that one, but the Prisoners of Ghostland, didn't care about that one nearly as much, but Bone Tomahawk is something I've been meaning to.
Bone Tomahawk is crazy.
I've been wanting to watch that, even though I've heard it's crazy.
That's crazy.
But I like Kurt Russell, so.
Yeah, Kurt Russell's always great. But I like Sam Elliott. I've always been a huge fan of Sam Elliott. It goes back to, like, we was talking about the Westerns. My dad loves Westerns, since Sam Elliott was one of his favorite cowboys. And so, you know, I've always liked Sam Elliott.
Tombstone.
Yep, Tombstone. Yep. And I enjoy this movie. I will be straight honest with you. It's not for everybody. So the name is a very catchy name that gets people into the movie. But you got to be, the movie is more than just the name. The movie is more than just that name. It's very much about a man reminiscing on his life and what he gave up to be the person he is, and how he sort of regrets some of it. So it's about life, loss, regret, and kicking ass, and still being able to do it. So that's really what it's about. But yes, he does do the deed of both of them in the movie. So just know that. And I think the 4K looks pretty good. Like I said, it's a pretty good movie. So there you go. So now we'll move on to Tom for your final pick of the night. Tom, if you're ready, and we'll finish out the night.
Well, I have one more.
How do you have one more? Oh, I missed you, didn't I? Yeah.
Sorry,
go first.
Yeah, I missed him. There you go, Runner. I'm sorry. Sorry, Runner.
Okay. I was gonna say I have one more.
I forgot.
You didn't have to skip Tom or whatever.
No, because Tom's got one more too. I forget. Yeah, this one.
Yeah, I got. I watched this one today. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great.
Cool.
To live and die in LA.
I enjoyed it. I thought it was great. William Dafoe.
Wait, have you seen this, Rook?
No.
Oh shit! I thought that was your voice saying. I thought that was your voice saying Defoe for a minute. I'm like, what the fuck? You've seen this? No, I really like this. It was good. William Friedkin, rest in peace. He directed it. Really good. This was Kino Lorber release. I think Tom, you said you haven't seen the 4K version of this yet.
No, me and Tom have not watched the 4K yet.
I have it, but I haven't watched it yet. I've never seen it.
Do you have it, Greg?
Yeah, I've been meaning to get to it, but I just have not watched it because I actually, believe it or not, I have a couple movies backed up that I haven't got to yet.
No, I
have more movies.
No, I understand that, but I finally got to this one because I picked it up on a Kino sale.
Yeah.
No, one of their awesome sales and stuff, and I got this for, their $13.99 4K deals and stuff. It's a really good movie.
Yeah, well, I know Robert Meyer Burnett loves it, so.
Yeah, I know. He was. I remember when he was like hyping it up, and he was saying like, "Oh, they were supposed to release it like a year ago or something, and now they're finally releasing it, or something like that." I remember he was saying that, but
because the Blu-ray had been out of print for a very, very long time, and it was really hard to get. And there was a rumor of a 4K for like a couple of years. And then it finally came to fruition that Kino was doing it.
Yeah, I know that's cool. I thought this was really good. I'm glad that they released this on 4K. That way people can actually get it now and stuff. Because, fuck, this is so good. Like the car chases and all that shit. It's like I'm not gonna lie. This is like GTA before GTA, in a sense. It's kind of cool when you look at it in that aspect, but Friedkin's directing is great. Willem Dafoe, fantastic, of course.
Nice.
It was really, really, really good.
Yeah, I know Dafoe's really good in that one.
I forget what the star's name is in this, but he was good too.
William Peterson.
Yeah, William Peterson. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. He's from CSI.
Yeah, no, this was really good.
He's also in the original Manhunter. He's the cop in that works with Hannibal Lecter trying to catch the Red Dragon.
But this was the third Friedkin movie I've ever seen.
He's pretty good. Friedkin's good.
Yeah, no, he's good. I've only ever seen his other stuff. I've seen were like Exorcist, of course, and The French Connection.
I know. I believe Rampage is coming. A Friedkin movie, I believe. Rampage is coming to Blu-ray, I believe, and Sorcerer is out there, I believe, still on Blu-ray that you can get. Yeah.
Isn't it Scorcher or Sorcerer?
Sorcerer.
Oh. I've been meaning to watch that one too. Yeah, I've been meaning to watch that one too. And I know they released that one movie he did with Al Pacino that I think Arrow released, but I guess it wasn't great in quality or whatever. I want to watch that one too.
Yeah.
Because I know that was the one. That was the one interview where somebody asked him about Al Pacino, and he's like, "I don't give a flying fuck what Al Pacino said or whatever. just Friedkin being Friedkin,
Yeah.
Yeah, cruising. That was it.
Yeah, cruising.
I remember there was somebody interviewing Friedkin asking him about Al Pacino, and he was just like, "I don't give a fuck." No, that was great. And that whole bit, like, I don't know if it was like recorded, but it was like a whole screenshot of like somebody telling him about DVDs and shit, and he basically said, was it fuck him and fuck Alexander to Oliver Stone?
Yeah.
That was fucking great too.
Yeah. All right. Well, if you're done, Runner, Tom, and if you're ready for your final pick, we'll do yours and close it out for the night.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, my last two picks kind of bounce off my last one, kind of. As we mentioned, Equalizer 3 was a reunion of sorts. That reunion, of course, would have been Man on Fire with Dakota Fanning, directed by Tony Scott, a good brother. And for those who don't recall or didn't know this, it was actually a remake of a movie called Man on Fire, starring Scott Glenn, which both are based on a book anyway. So this original one came out in 1987, and it was like an Italian-French co-production, but it actually has Scott Glenn, Joe Pesci, Danny Aiello's in it.
That's a great cast.
The main bad guy, I'm trying to remember his name. I think it's like Jonathan Pryce or something like that. You've seen, you recognize most of this cast. And it's the same-ish story. Honestly, if I had to guess which one's probably closer to the book, I bet you this one is. But this one's the shorter of the two, and it's the more compressed, and it has the happy 80s ending, as opposed to this one, which to me feels like a Tony Scott movie.
Yeah, for sure.
But honestly, of the two, I gotta give it to the remake.
Nice.
This one's fun. This one's okay. Joe Pesci's really good in it too, and Scott Glenn's all right and whatnot. This one just has that slight edge to it that it does what remakes, when you do a good remake, should do, and that is you fill the cast up with reasons why you're redoing this. You make the story, updated in a way that makes it worth doing. Sure, some of the names and stuff were changed, but who gives a shit? And again, I've never read the book, so I have no comparison to tell you guys. I'm just going, if somebody out there in the chat knows, but please let me know. But this is actually a pretty excellent little, B-level action film from the 80s. It's really good. This, though, is just like pure Tony Scott, goodness. So again,
more studio made
film. Either one. Yeah, well, yeah, obviously more polished and 2000 sensibilities and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. No, I enjoyed them both. I had a good time watching both of them.
So much talk about remakes in this stream.
Yeah. Actually, Man on Fire is supposed to be a new restoration, but it kind of looks like shit. The 87 one.
Oh,
but it seems like it's pretty rough shape from its initial get-go.
Okay.
It actually reminded me of the Scanners 4K.
Really?
Like it looks like it was like a video at like a lot of video noise or something going on. It's really weird.
That's a shame, because the 4K restorations of what has come out recently of Tony Scott's work look really fucking good.
Yeah, hopefully we'll get this sooner or later. I got it on eBay pretty cheap because I wanted to watch it since Kino Lorber has this.
Yeah.
I was going to say, Steven was wanting to know where you got that. And he says that he does recall.
That's what I would imagine by the way the movie, because you even have him narrating the 87 film. And I kind of wonder it's weird. It's kind of narrated like, have you guys seen Fallen with Denzel Washington, speaking of?
Fallen?
Yeah. If you haven't seen it, it's a great fucking movie.
What, the movie Fallen?
Yeah.
With Denzel and John Goodman?
Yeah, but that has an intro that's kind of reminiscent of this in a way, to where it's kind of trying to send you on a little bit of a loop of sorts.
I was gonna say, I feel like Tony Scott did like a few other remakes too, because he also did the remake
he did
to
Pelham. We talked about that a little last year. I can't remember at what point.
Yeah, we did talk about it before, and I did watch both versions of the movie, and I like both for different reasons.
And he did that other one too. I'm trying to think.
No, yeah, you're right.
No, but Fallen is kind of similar in that respect, where it intros, when Denzel's like, "This is about the time I almost died."
Oh yeah. Fallen. That's a pretty good movie. If you've never seen that, that is a good movie. It's pretty creepy too.
I need to rewatch it, but Man on
my side.
But
yes, it is. Yes, it is.
I don't know if I've told you this, but Man on Fire might be my favorite Denzel movie.
I could see that. I mean, it's not my favorite of his, but it's one of the really high up there ones. I remember enjoying it quite a bit when it first came out. I just realized I didn't have it on DVD or Blu-ray when I got this one. I'm like, I could have swore I had it, but I guess I didn't.
I mean,
this is one of those.
I mean, don't get me wrong. There's other ones where I'd say are probably about that level, but that one's probably my favorite.
But this is an old ass Blu-ray. I mean, this even has the old Beyond high definition fucking logo on it.
I still got some of those.
There's like no special features. I don't remember if there was on the DVD or not, but I'm like, I don't really know. But like, wow, this is bare bones as fuck.
What's your favorite Denzel movie then? Just curious, Tom.
That's a really good question. Because I love him. Like, he's up there in my...
No, like, you know, as disappointed I was of Equalizer 3, I'm willing to rewatch it just because he's fucking in it. You know what I mean? Like, he's one of those actors where, like, even if it's not a great movie, like, I'll watch it just because he's in it.
I mean, Fallen has to be pretty high up there.
Fallen's good.
I need to watch that because I haven't seen that.
When I was younger, one of the first movies that really turned me on to Denzel was The Mighty Quinn and Ricochet. Those were two of the first movies I remember him in. And Ricochet is one that needs a Blu-ray release. I had the DVD. I don't even know if I have it anymore, but it was a shit-ass DVD anyway. But Ricochet is a kick-ass cop movie with him and John Lithgow, if you haven't seen it.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen that.
I'm gonna say Virtuosity. Not really. No, I'm just joking on that. But I do like that movie. That is cheesy goodness.
I mean, as far as his earlier stuff, though, yeah, probably one of those two. I really liked him in like The Pelican Brief. I mean, he's just good, and even though his movies aren't always the best movies, he's really good in them. Hurricane is one I remember loving a lot. Yeah. Glory is probably another
yes.
Earlier kind of things, but I remember him being on the Oscar show.
He won an Oscar for Best Supporting.
St. Elsewhere or whatever. Because my mom used to watch that when I was growing up.
But yeah, Glory.
I remember the Titans. Training Day is probably way up there. American Gangster is a good one.
Malcolm X.
I didn't really Remember the Titans.
Remember? I remember that. Remember the Titans.
You don't remember it.
Remember the Titans and Training Day is not two of my favorites of his. Personally.
I just got Training Day 4K, so it'd be the first time I've seen it since it first came out again.
I got the 4K.
Book of Eli was all right. That's a new.
That was good.
The Book of Eli was
I like.
I don't remember if I saw that one or not.
That was with Mila Kunis.
I'm trying to remember.
He's like blind, and he's well, you don't actually know he's blind. I might have spoiled that just now.
I kind of remember when it came out, but I'm trying to remember if I saw it. And I didn't even hate him in the Magnificent Seven. He was a really good pick for the Yule Brother.
Yeah, for sure. No, that most of that cast was really good.
Yeah. I don't think I actually saw Book of Eli. I should actually check that one out. I liked him in Two Guns.
Two Guns was good. Crimson Tide, another Tony Scott movie.
Oh yeah, of course, Crimson Tide. Yeah.
I liked Philadelphia. It's not a movie.
Siege is one I haven't seen in many years either. That's one I'd like to see again. Courage Under Fire, I remember being a big one when it first came out. See, the Manchurian Candidate was one I remember when it came out. Is that the other Tony Scott one that he did?
That might be because
it's Jonathan Demme. Never mind, Jonathan Demme.
I was gonna say that wasn't Tony Scott. The Hurricane is a movie I've been meaning to watch.
It's good, but you gotta have 3 hours to sit down and watch it.
I'm fine.
Well, it's a true story too, but
yeah.
No, I know it's a biopic, but I don't know. It's got Denzel, so I'd be okay with that. Man on Fire. Oh, Deja Vu. I really like that one. It's got two of my favorite actors in it.
See, now The Great Debaters is one I remember watching, but I don't remember shit about it. Like, I'm going through his movies right now. I'm trying to remember all. Out of Time, I think that one was pretty good, if I remember.
I'm going through his movies right now. Deja Vu. I've watched that once, and I probably liked it more than most people because it's got Denzel and Val Kilmer. So it's probably why I like that movie more than most. But
I do.
American Gangster. I've been meaning to watch. I picked up.
Oh, that's a good one.
So Ridley Scott one. So.
Oh yeah, Heart Condition. That's one I remember from when I was.
Oh yeah.
That's one that needs a fucking Blu-ray release.
I think that went out of Blu-ray. That was one night you won't see much of anymore.
No, that's a great one. And that's Bob Hoskins, like...
Yeah, where he gets his heart and everything.
Yeah, it's after Roger Rabbit, but he's using all the same kind of shit he did during Roger Rabbit, because basically Denzel's a ghost in it.
I just realized I forgot about this movie. This is an underrated fucking movie. Inside Man. Have you ever seen that?
I believe I did back in the day when it came out.
It's directed by Spike Lee, but it's not your typical.
I'm not a huge Spike Lee fan.
I know, but it's not your typical Spike Lee movie.
Yeah.
But it is good. It's got a good cast in it too. Willem Dafoe's in it too. I watched it once. It was a damn good. That was a damn good movie. Unstoppable. That was Tony Scott's last movie.
Wow, Heart Condition has never even had a DVD release here, from what I can see.
I thought Shout had Heart Condition on Blu-ray, and it went out of print. I remember.
I can't find it on Blu-ray.com. Let me look under.
I'm pretty sure Shout had it, but they don't. It went out. Because if I remember that, Bone Collector, yes, Scott Hughes. Bone Collector is a good one. That's a good one.
Oh, that was with
I would have thought if Heart Condition would have come on Blu-ray, I would have got it.
I could have sworn that Shout had it on, because I remember seeing it on one of their going out of print sales, and I don't think it's ever coming back, to be honest with you.
Yeah, no, I've been meaning to watch.
Okay, here we go.
Bone Collector's on my list too.
A DVD. It did get a DVD.
Oh,
it's on digital, but I see no Blu-ray here. I finally found it.
Okay.
So I think you're thinking of something else. I think you're thinking of Carbon Copy. Because I have Carbon Copy. That's the one he did.
I saw Heart Condition somewhere.
No, it's only gotten a DVD. Warner Archive release, no less.
Well, that sounds like a Shout Factory title if I've ever seen one, because they just did My Demon Lover,
Carbon Copy.
Was one. No, Heart Condition.
Because Carbon Copy was released by Shout, but I think it's like
that's what I just said. I think
that's what he was.
Because that was another Denzel movie back in the day.
Yeah, maybe that was
one of his earlier ones.
Yep. No, I have not seen this in so long. You know what? I might buy this on Vudu. Oh, it's shit. I don't think it's on Vudu.
I'll be honest with you.
On iTunes? What the fuck?
I'll be honest with you. I want to watch Virtuosity now because I have the Blu-ray, and I gotta want to watch the Virtuosity now. After
that was one of those movies I just didn't really care for when it came out, but I wonder if I'd like it now or not.
I remember it just being so cheesy with Russell Crowe and Denzel, just like being Denzel, and it worked. I had fun with it.
Oh no, I can get it on Vudu.
The only way I can watch Carbon Copy.
It's only in standard def. Oh.
The only way I can watch Carbon Copy is on the Roku channel. That's it. That's funny.
Jesus, the DVD's fucking $20.
Yeah, those Warner Archive DVDs.
Well, you can get it HD on fucking Amazon though.
Is this the second? That's with Dabney Coleman in it. Dabney Coleman is the one with Denzel and the Carbon Copy, isn't it? Or am I thinking of another movie? Because I'm thinking of a movie with Dabney Coleman and a black guy.
You're thinking of a different one. Carbon Copy has a guy from Taxi in it, I think.
Well, there's some for the chat. What movie am I thinking of?
George Segal, yeah. George Segal. Jack Warden's in it, though.
I swear I'm thinking of a movie with Dabney Coleman, and I could have sworn it was Denzel. Maybe it's somebody like Denzel, where they're together and like cops or something. What is that I'm thinking of? I don't know. I don't know. There's some just that sounds familiar, very, very familiar to me, and I can't place it. And also for some reason I just Walk Like a Man with Howie Mandel just popped in my head too. So I don't know why that just popped in my head.
I know what you're talking about. It was like late 80s, early 90s. I'm trying to look it up here.
Yeah, it was with Dabney Coleman and like
black
guy never
plays a cop. Yeah, he's a little too old to be playing a cop.
Yeah, it was like really at the wrong end of Dabney Coleman's career.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it here. Not Short Time. That's a different one. That's the one where he finds out he's dying or whatever.
That might.
We did Amos. He was in it. Oh no, that's a different.
That Short Time might actually be the movie I'm thinking of.
It might be.
How many of these movies you guys are talking about? I've never even.
He might have been a cop in that one. Because you're young.
Yeah,
I know.
And Rook just sits back and he just stays silent because he knows better.
Because he has no idea. So he's
like, I'm not gonna get involved.
I'm the risk taker here. I'm the one runner who will take all the risks.
Yeah, he's a police detective.
The risk taker.
I think that's the movie I'm thinking of. Where
there's no black guy in it though. That's
why was I thinking there's a black guy? Maybe I'm getting the Heart Condition movie mixed up with that movie. Since it's Beth Hart.
Listen, Rook, the only risk you've ever taken...
His name was Bert Simpson in it. That's the funny thing. Bert Simpson.
Bert Simpson.
Rook, the only risk you've ever taken on this show was saying that Gremlins sucked. That's it.
Yeah, and I stuck to it.
I know. I'm saying that was a risk that you took because that's not a very popular opinion.
That's a very high risk, apparently.
It is.
All right, guys. We'll close down to 3 hours.
Yeah,
we'll sit here and reminisce about movies.
Right.
I'm thinking about a bunch of movies I can't remember the names of.
The normal runner routine.
Yeah, we've hit 3 hours. I think we've tapped out.
Yeah, but thank you, Runner.
Thank you for those who hung in there. Yeah.
And thank you to everybody out there in the chat and everybody that hung in with us and watched us. As always, I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Thank you for hanging, and you don't have to go home. But you can't stay. You gotta find it here.
How you doing? Bitches leave.